we just turn our brains off and just think of like what the dumbest thing possible. And a lot of them we believe. Like,
No,
I
I'm-
believe Chris Paul's a choker.
I'm well aware that
Yes.
you believe in terrible take.
On today's Part of My Take, we have JJ Redick in studio. We catch up with him, talk about his podcast, talk about Coach K's farewell game at Cameron Indoor, talk some NBA. We also have some crazy NFL news. We thought Calvin Ridley would lead the show, but then Aaron Rodgers went back to the Packers, and then Russell Wilson got traded. So an insane day in NFL news. Hot seat, cool throne, and we finish with guys on chicks. And we're brought to you by our friends at I Trust Capital. By now, you've probably heard all about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. You might even already be investing in them, but did you know that you could invest in cryptocurrencies through your retirement account? That's right. With I Trust Capital, you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies from a crypto IRA and get all the same tax advantages as a traditional IRA. I Trust Capital allows you to invest in over 24 of the most popular cryptocurrencies, and unlike the stock market, you can buy and sell 24 hours a day. The I Trust Capital platform is easy to use, and it only takes a few minutes to create your account. Setting up an IRA is free, and I Trust fees are low. It's time to start taking control of your financial future with I Trust Capital. You get all the tax benefits of a retirement account while investing in crypto. Visit itrust.capital/take to start investing today. That's itrust.capital/take. Taxes and conditions may apply. Fees apply. Cryptocurrencies are a speculative investment with risk of loss. iTrust Capital Inc. does not provide legal investment or tax advice. Consult with a qualified legal investment or tax professional. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Part of My Take, presented by I Trust Capital. Today is Wednesday, March 9th, and holy shit, the NFL does not sleep. A lot of news just happened.
The NFL is king. I love reminding people that the NFL is king.
A flex.
It's a big flex. Every now and again, Roger Goodell sees another sport start to get a little bit of shine. This is March.
Right.
And people are talking about college basketball, and Goodell's like, you know what? I'm going to press the button. The NFL is king button and fully activate the league.
It's essentially like all sports just happen in between big NFL moments. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, well, we had a couple basketball games, and then Calvin Ridley, and then Aaron Rodgers, and then Russell Wilson. Let's go. Most recent and back from there.
Okay, because we were betting. We thought for sure Big Cat was going to lead the show with Aaron Rodgers.
No, I think Russell Wilson is the bigger story.
Yeah, I think that's pretty apparent. Russell Wilson changing conferences.
MVP.
Russell Wilson is definitely the bigger story because Rodgers staying at the Packers was kind of expected-ish. Well, Russell Wilson going to the Broncos is like, whoa, that just happened.
They've both won the same amount of Super Bowls.
Yep, that's a fact.
People forget that. Russell Wilson going to the Broncos, I think it's a good deal for the Broncos. They gave up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, I believe, a 5th, and then they gave away Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and I think they're getting in return Russell and a 4th.
Yeah, they sent Shelby Harris as well.
That's right, yeah.
I actually, like any trade, and we've given this speech before, we have to immediately say winners and losers. I honestly don't like. It's going to be hard for the Seahawks to recoup what Russell Wilson is in terms of a franchise quarterback, top 10 guy that is very hard to find. And you basically are saying you have to nail these draft picks. And then on the other side, like the Broncos, I like the all-in. If they win a Super Bowl, it obviously all pays off. There's also the element that the Broncos are currently for sale, and having Russell Wilson as your franchise quarterback absolutely would help the price tag on that.
They're trying to attract Antonio Brown, who said that he's very serious. Him and Kanye West are trying to buy the Broncos.
Yes, so the price. This actually
business is booming right now.
This does actually play into it, and it's no surprise that the Broncos made this move like 2 hours after Aaron Rodgers said he's staying in Green Bay, because it was clear the Broncos were trying to get Aaron Rodgers. Not a bad option too, but like, there's a chance this trade just fails for everyone.
Yeah. No, it could.
You know what I mean?
But I like it for the Broncos. I like it a lot. And for Seahawks fans out there, they've been living in like a fantasy world for about the last 10 years. The Seahawks, they're no better than us, Big Cat, as fans of the Commanders and the Bears. They've just been on a great run because they found a great quarterback.
Right.
That could kind of make everything go away, make things feel good. Now they're going to realize, like, oh, shit, we really had something in Russell Wilson, I think. I think that the Broncos won this trade because they've got a quarterback. This is kind of the Broncos' move, too, is going out and finding a Super Bowl winning quarterback, bring them into town. We saw that with Flacco, obviously.
But
Peyton Manning.
The difference being, wasn't Peyton Manning, was he a free agent at that point?
He was released.
Right. So they didn't have to give up a lot of future picks. And, Noah Fant was a first-round pick 2 or 3 years ago? Like, that's my only point is that the Broncos, they're going to be a lot better, but can you win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson and giving up a bunch of picks, and you're also playing in now easily the hardest division in football? It's not saying you shouldn't try. Obviously, you should try. I like that fact. Like, if I was a Broncos fan, I'd be pumped. I'm saying more in 5 years, we could look back and be like, oh, so the Broncos went to the playoffs like twice, and the Seahawks didn't really hit home runs with their picks, and both franchises were kind of worse for it.
Yeah, huge come up though for Derek Carr, really, because everyone's like, this is by far the best division in football. Look at the quarterbacks that you have to compete against: Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr.
He's getting though the dragon meme. With like the 3 dragons that are like scary, and then one that's goofy with the eyes crossed.
That's a tricky one. But I've seen more of people saying like, "Look how stacked this division is."
I agree. I like Carr.
And Derek Carr is like actually it's probably the biggest God division in football right now. I think Herbert's a God guy, right?
Mahomes is kind of a low-key.
Well, he's from Texas. I feel like that you're at least half a God.
Carr and Russell Wilson makes it a runaway.
Runaway. Because those guys are 100 out of 100 guys.
God will be watching. God hopes that AFC West games get on primetime this year.
Yeah, and Denver is the closest city to God in the NFL. But it's interesting because this goes against like what John Elway has done in the past a little bit.
Well, he's not
6'5".
He's not 6'5", and also he's not calling the shots anymore the same way that he is. Like he's been John Elway. I feel like they've just been making up new titles to move him farther away from you're the GM. But yeah, you're right. The shortness of Russell Wilson probably has John Elway disgusted right now.
I do like it for the Broncos though. Honestly, I do think that Russell Wilson is one of the quarterbacks that can take any team and turn them into like an instant contender. They'll probably, I would say, any team in the NFL, you put Russell Wilson on a team, they're probably going to be favored to make the playoffs.
Right, but my counterpoint to that would be: have the Seahawks been a contender the last 5 years?
I think with a healthy Russell Wilson, they've always been. Yeah, they've been in the
playoffs.
They've been in the discussion.
Right, they've been in the playoffs. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Obviously, I would kill for Russell Wilson, but it's like he's a 33-year-old quarterback who, you're probably not getting his prime, and quarterbacks play a lot longer, and you've also given up a lot of picks. I don't know. And you're playing against Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Derek Carr. Shout out Derek Carr. It's one of those weird trades. I look at it, I'm like, it makes sense why everyone did it. I just don't know if anyone's gonna. And if you want to judge it purely off Super Bowls, then it's obviously the odds are in my favor to say neither team's gonna win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. But how many playoff appearances will the Broncos and the Seahawks have combined in the next 5 years? I guess the Seahawks are a little different timeline now.
Yeah, Seahawks are on a different timeline because Drew Lock, as much as I love the guy, throws the best incompletions in practice in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm ready to admit that I think I was probably wrong about Drew Lock. And they're also trying to get rid of Lockett. So it seems like the Seahawks are entering into like a total, complete rebuild.
Right.
From the ground up. And by the way, I think we need to have our guy DK's back on this. I think we need to now free DK.
Yes.
Free DK.
Bring him to the Bears.
Bring him, anywhere.
Yeah.
Just get DK out of town. But I think
Seahawks. Let's go see. I mean, not Seahawks. Seahawks are rebuilding.
Broncos make the playoffs 3 times.
3 out of 5 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because
they've got a good defense.
They do. The Broncos have a good team. It's more how stacked the AFC is now. Like, would you say the Broncos will have the 1 seed at least once in the next 5 years? I wouldn't make that bet.
I wouldn't either.
So that, like, you know what I mean? It's less about like Russell. I think Russell Wilson's a great quarterback, and you have to try. So it's not. It's again. I think the Broncos have to make this move. I just don't think that it's one of those things where you see it and you're like, oh, the Broncos now officially like Super Bowl contender fully.
You know what's going to be sick, though? I just thought of this. You know how Russell Wilson, he's the king of throwing the teardrop passes. They go up in the air. They touch the cloud.
Yep.
They come down with a little bit of Seattle rain on it. Imagine how high he's going to be able to throw the ball in Denver.
Yeah, it's going to be electric.
It's going to be fun. I think that this is a good move for the Broncos. I also see, looking around the NFL, like you mentioned earlier, It's no coincidence that this happened right after the Aaron Rodgers news.
Right.
It's like no spoilers for Love Is Blind, but like Jarrett and Alana when Mallory says no to him, and then he has to find somebody else right afterwards. We're entering the time of the NFL season where it's like it's getting late. You've been at a bar. You're looking for people, maybe take home for the night, and your options are starting to get dicey. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, okay, I better spring now. It's 1:15 in the morning. Aaron Rodgers just left. Russell Wilson's pretty good. I'll take Russell Wilson. And then you're going to have teams waiting around, being like, I can talk myself into Mitchell Trubisky.
Well, this is
and then at the very end, after everything's out, the last two guys in the bar that are giving you some stink eyes, you've got Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson. You're like, who wants to take a chance with those guys?
Oh, I think James is higher than Mitch.
You think so?
Yeah. Right now?
I don't know.
James is playing really well last year. It is true, though. Like, this is how you end up going home with Sam Darnold and being like, let's pick up his fifth-year option. This will work.
Yeah, the Deshaun Watson, you're like, your friends are texting you on the way back in the Uber, like, you okay?
Yeah. And let
me know when you're home.
And this is actually, well, also, you could say the same for Jameson in Uber.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like Jameis and Deshaun are the two that are wild cards.
That is in that analogy, that is why the trade obviously makes a ton of sense for the Broncos, because you do have a quarterback for, I don't know, let's say 5 years at least, that it feels like you're confidently going to have a franchise quarterback and you're going to be in the discussion.
I think the real question is, if you're the Broncos, would you rather have 5 years of Russell Wilson, paying him a lot of money, giving up what you've given up, and he's a proven commodity, or would you take a chance and go for somebody in the draft, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, those kinds of guys?
I don't know. It's very tough, because there is an element of just continually saying, let's build the right way. But if Russell Wilson becomes available, you have to take your shot.
This is, you know what? Like,
again, it's less about Russell Wilson. It's more about just how fucking hard the AFC is going to be. Like, the AFC is a gauntlet.
One of my favorite things is when the analysts get in front of the camera, they go, the NFL is a copycat league. And it's kind of true, because everyone just like chases what's been successful recently. And Tom Brady won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl. I think more teams are just going to try to say, I'd rather take a shot at acquiring a free agent quarterback, maybe towards the end of their career, and then use all my draft capital on skill positions on the line.
It makes sense. I mean, he's obviously a great quarterback. All right, so should we talk? Aaron Rodgers is back with the Packers. He completely ruined International Women's Day. Sorry to all women out there.
Any women out there, if you're feeling disrespected, please slide into the DMs of Part of My Take and let them know.
Yeah, it was fucked up what Aaron Rodgers did. I think the worst part for me is that my stupid brain let myself believe that maybe he wasn't going to come back, but he always was.
It was always going to happen. Aaron loves doing this every offseason, where he pretends like he's going to go, and then he spends time away from everyone, and then he comes back after doing the ayahuasca, and he's like, you know what? I've realized that certain things are important in my life, and that's the friendships that I've made here.
And $200 million.
And $200 million, which
is not apparently is not true. Which is also perfect Aaron Rodgers, that the announcement happened, and then he immediately was like, you guys are all spinning like falsehoods, and the media lies again. I'm going to be canceled again.
It's like $300 million.
Yeah, right.
So here's a good spend zone for you. I think that if Aaron Rodgers doesn't win 3 out of the 4 next Super Bowls, this contract is kind of a bust. If it is $50 million, if he's the highest paid player in the history of the NFL,
well, the cap's going up.
You would assume
the cap is going up.
The cap's going up, but you would assume that the highest paid player ever would also be a player capable of leading you to dynasty.
You would assume. I'm back in the torture chamber. He's going to torture me, whatever. The only thing that I can hope for is that he doesn't win a second Super Bowl with the Packers, because that's why I was letting myself believe. That's why I was so happy in January when the 49ers beat him, because having Aaron Rodgers for 15 years and only winning 1 Super Bowl is as loser talk as it is, because it is truly loser talk, basically making fun of your rival for being like, you only won 1 Super Bowl. That's what I have to hang my hat on. And now the idea of him finishing his career and like going out on the white horse, I'm now facing a couple kill myself games with Coach K's retirement and now Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think we can say that.
Okay, well, we can bleep that out, but it's not good. This isn't good. You're going
to K yourself.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Like, I just hope that he sucks up so much money that they can't have a defense. And those are my favorite Aaron Rodgers teams when he's awesome in the regular season and then they get to the playoffs and his defense sucks. It sucks. I'm not happy. It's going to be torture. I'm back in the torture chamber. I think he truly looked around the NFC and was like, it's kind of back to the Russell Wilson talk. Like, Aaron Rodgers looked at the NFC North and was like, wait, I can keep just beating the fuck out of these teams? Why would I go to the AFC West?
Yeah, it makes sense. Or the only other option that I thought made a little bit of sense for him was Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because in Tennessee, it's kind of the same situation where you have teams that you should be able to beat handily for the at least next couple years, unless they make some big-time moves. That would have made sense if he had been a Titan, given what their defense does occasionally when they feel like playing, what their running game does. That to me seemed like it was a good fit. But you're right. Why would you stop playing willingly twice a year against the Lions, the Bears, and the Vikings?
Yeah, it's a free ride.
It is kind of messed up. So if I was a Packers fan, I would be elated that he's coming back. But at the same time, like, he does this so much to them.
He's going to keep doing
The
it.
last, he's Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
When she keeps
You're
showing
dropping
up.
some sick analogies today.
Colin Cowherd hat is on smoothly today. You know, Jenny comes back and she's like, Forrest, I love you. I'm sorry for treating you like shit. Sorry that you've been crying and lonely for the last 5 years. Let me just bone you one night.
Right.
And then
Give you AIDS.
I'll leave again in the morning. Oh, here's a son I'm bringing back to you. I'm actually not going. I'm going to go off in the distance for a while and go do drugs and threaten to jump off a ledge and then come back to you. We'll make it up. But he kind of does treat them like shit.
Yeah, no, he does. He absolutely does. And he's going to keep doing that. And he's going to be like, if they have a early exit, he's going to be like, I have no help, even though he's taking up a lot of the money. As an aside, I wish we had someone who could just explain the salary cap to us it like consistently and just be like, it is just complete bullshit all the time. Because nothing matters.
Who's the biggest math guy that we have here?
Jake?
Yeah,
Billy's low-key sick at math.
Yeah,
I can
Billy
do
is.
some research, probably.
Yeah, but
It just never makes
you're
sense.
sports biz.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
the cap is just doesn't it. Everyone's in salary cap hell, and then like a year later they're totally fine.
I kind of like the idea of Billy being like, that's cap with Billy football.
Yeah,
You
he's
can
got
do our
spreadsheets.
salary cap segment, which is going to be completely wrong.
I'll try to dumb it down as much as I can.
Oh, thanks for
Yeah,
for
appreciate
terms
that for
doing
us.
that.
For
This
us
is the guy who
idiots.
creates the spreadsheet, which is coming back next week.
Yes, it is. I'm very excited for it. But yeah, the Packers are going to the Packers are going to probably have, going back to the 1 seed conversation, they'll probably have the 1 seed at least 2 times in the next 4 years, just because they play in a division, in a conference now. Like the NFC.
But shouldn't Aaron Rodgers want to not have home field advantage to the playoffs?
He just doesn't want to play in the playoffs.
I think he just doesn't like playing in the cold in Green Bay in the playoffs.
Yeah. And then our last story is we have Calvin Ridley. It's been a crazy 24 hours. Calvin Ridley suspended 1 year for placing parlays, 3 different parlays, 3, 5, and 18 parlay back in November.
My type of guy.
Yeah, when he was on mental health rest.
You think he was riding? You think he was a can't lose guy?
Or was
Hungry
he a
dog.
hungry dog? Yeah.
No, Mike Vick was the fan of the Hungry Dog.
Yeah. You walked into that one. I mean, it's a story it's very funny because it's very hypocritical of the NFL. Obviously, I would actually like what game do you think Calvin Ridley will score his next touchdown in? Can we bet on that? Because that would be cool.
Actually,
I'm sure the NFL will be like, hey.
So one of two things is going on, I think. Either they're just doing a send a message thing that like this won't be
They have
tolerated, or there might be something more that was going on with Calvin Ridley in terms of how much he was gambling. It seems pretty harsh, and I get why the NFL, even if it is just the $1,500 in bets, I get why they have to say the players are not allowed to bet on the games. That makes sense to me.
Right.
I get that because there's too much money at stake in terms of like, yes, they are in bed with the gambling companies, but if the gambling companies, if there's like a loss of legitimacy in the game, then those gambling companies won't have as much money to bribe the NFL with in the future.
Correct.
So they're hypocrites, but at least they're kind of honest hypocrites about it.
Well, it's the NFL has been hypocritical about gambling forever because they've basically pretended that it didn't exist for the longest time, even though, like, if you took away gambling, if you had a button where all gambling, everything, like illegal, legal, was just erased, no one could bet on anything, what do you think the NFL's TV audience would do? Half?
Yeah, probably about half.
It would be crazy.
Like we're counting fantasy football and all that.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like a Thursday night game between the Jaguars and Titans. You think people are like the country is watching
I would.
just for that, it's been hypocritical for a very long time. They pretended it didn't exist, even though everyone gambles. And then when gambling became legalized, they got, obviously they taking a lot of ads. We're not an official sponsor of the NFL, so you can't come at us. Roger does not allow us to.
I've actually sanctioned the NFL.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to do business with us.
Right, exactly. So in that respect, they're hypocritical, but I totally understand, like, people saying, well, why can't Calvin Ridley bet? I get why you can't bet. It's just like you can't. Gamblers are crazy, so they all think that everything's rigged. You had Emmanuel Acho thinking everything was rigged.
Emmanuel Acho is literally an insane person. I don't know if you've ever watched his show. He is insane. He also steals tweets. You know that?
He stole that video from someone.
He's stolen tweets from me, and then people call him out on it, and he goes, "Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery."
He's crazy. I've never had
flattery is the most sincere form of flattery.
Yeah, that's true. Just saying, good job.
Just say, hey,
retweeting is the most sincere form of flattery.
Hey, PFT, I like your joke that you made that everybody else also made.
Yeah. But that was the easiest W of my life. I did that during my son's bath time. I was half paying attention, and he was like, he just wasn't making any sense.
You just scrolled by his tweet and saw it?
No, I was maybe put onto his tweet by a friend, but then after it started, I was literally
alley-oop.
I was doing fucking soap in one hand and dunking on Emmanuel Acho in the other. His tweets back to me were shockingly stupid.
What were they?
So let's clarify what he was saying at first.
Let's read the
tweet.
Because at first Emmanuel Acho took a video and he said something along the lines of, "I'm not accusing Calvin Ridley of betting on anything else than what he was accused of, but this evidence is damning." I feel like I'm looking through a kaleidoscope at an encyclopedia trying to figure out what those words mean. He was, in fact, accusing Calvin Ridley of point shaving.
And it was a pretty damning video.
Yeah,
if you just look at those clips.
He said, all right, so
he had those guys beat.
I don't think
that
Calvin
one clip
Ridley
against the Chiefs was bad.
I don't think Calvin Ridley
sucked.
was throwing games well on the field at all, but this video is very damning. And it was 3 plays of a career that has had 250 catches. Also, if you looked at the stats from those 3 games, he had like 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and like 15 catches. Either way. So I was like, this is a bad tweet. And he said, why is that? And he just doubled down. Like his stupidity, he wrote back, I don't think he threw games as stated, but I can acknowledge when video evidence doesn't look good. And when you break away from defenders, which you clearly beat, then circle back to get tackled, I can understand why some people might think you threw games.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
saying he's doing the no offense, but
right.
You're ugly.
Right. So if he's doing a bit, that was actually the funniest bit ever by Emmanuel Acho, but I unfortunately think he was dead serious.
He's incapable of bits. Remember, this is the guy that said that we should outlaw marijuana in the Olympics.
Correct.
Because who knows where the javelin throwers will hurl the sticks.
Yes. And then he subtweeted me with, I'll play this sound because it was...
we also said he doesn't know you.
He doesn't know me. He doesn't know who I am. So I sent him Buff Cat. Hopefully he thinks that's actually who I am. That would be sick. This subtweet, I was trying to make sense of it. Oh, no, he might have deleted that. He's been deleting a lot of tweets. So, here we go. Ready? Tell me if you guys can understand this. Wait.
When people don't take the time to get to know someone, then they default to what they know about people that look like that someone they never took the time to know. When people don't take the
I think
time
he's calling
to
me
get to know
racist.
I think so, yeah.
Then they default to what they know about.
Are you saying that his
people
brother
look
also
like
has
that
bad
someone
tweets?
They never took the time to know.
So that was the subtweet where I'm pretty sure he called me racist, which is okay. Your tweet was bad.
Okay.
I don't care who sent it.
As an anti-Nazi podcast.
Correct.
I think we take
and
offense to
disavowed Putin.
Yep, facts.
Which is confusing because Putin also disavowed Nazis.
He's got my brain in a pretzel on that one.
We're dog chasing his tail
We're
here.
very dumb. Basically, what we're trying to say is all the good things that you want to believe in, that's what we believe in.
Yeah.
And none of the bad things.
Yes. But
So,
yeah,
fill in the
Emmanuel
blanks.
Acho, easiest dub of my life. I've
got an idea for what the NFL can do, though, to move forward with Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
Tell me this wouldn't be a great idea. If we were running the show, this is probably what we would do to handle it. They should have Calvin Ridley create a weekly 8-leg parlay this season, and if he hits it, he gets reinstated immediately. Put a live stream on him while he's watching all the games.
Yep.
Trying to get his career back.
Yep. I like it. Or he could also just do one pick a week, Calvin Ridley's lead pipe lock.
Yeah.
Every time he gets it right, it's 1 game off the suspension.
Sure.
So like halfway through the season, if he's 8-0, he's back.
Yeah, imagine the views that you could do on this.
It would be great. I wouldn't put it past the NFL. Like I said, I was joking, but there's definitely some place that is going to put out a line of like, when will Calvin Ridley first appear in an NFL game again? Mm-hmm. So we're going to bet on his suspension of the betting, his suspension of betting.
So we went back and we looked at some of the games. Like it was late November is when they said that
23rd
that he
to
was
28th.
accused of this.
Yeah.
So it could have been the game against the Jaguars that
It
the
was.
Falcons won.
It was.
So Calvin Ridley might have taken the Lunder.
He might have.
That was the original Lunder game, I believe.
He might
and
have.
as an empath,
Just Falcons, right?
As an empath, I can understand his shame in losing money on betting the Lunder.
Yeah, you heard the name. And I just betting on the Falcons, that has been a problem of mine for a very long time. Where you see the first round picks and you say, like, Calvin Ridley knows those dudes. He knows they're all first round picks.
You know what the NFL should also do is they should take all the gambling money that they're getting, work those into some of the contracts as incentives, and have every player that's eligible automatically every game you're betting on your own overs, all your overs, your touchdowns, all your props, your teams against the spread. So it's already worked into their contract, so you can't bet against it. Just like a little extra sprinkle on top for the players as an incentive.
Just to try.
To try, yeah.
Yeah.
They should just let the players gamble.
They should not.
As long as they bet on themselves.
They absolutely should not.
Well,
It would be such a can of worms.
The problem with betting on yourself every game is that when you don't bet on yourself in those games, you're strongly implying that you think that you're not going to do well.
Correct. And also, if you bet on yourself, even if you're trying extra hard, but now you're also trying to cover a spread, which might make you do things that are different than trying to win the game.
Yeah.
Which we've oftentimes will implore
Todd Gurley,
implore coaches and players to try to cover the spread and not care about like actually winning the game.
Yeah. The bottom line is everybody in the world is a hypocrite. And if you say that you're not a hypocrite, you actually are the biggest hypocrite of them all.
True. Well, actually, let's back up there because listen, it's not like just a crazy analogy. It's not like we let like politicians buy stocks.
No, it's not. Like
so, it's not that.
No,
you're right. We stopped them there, so we got to stop players.
Nancy Pelosi will introduce a bill making it okay for players to bet on themselves without telling anybody.
Yes. So I mean, the story.
Probably. Do you think Nancy Pelosi gambles on the Barstool app?
Yeah. Well, no, California isn't legal.
Would that stop her?
Probably not.
Yeah.
She's probably got a.
Her husband's. Yeah. One of his houses.
She's got bagmen in Vegas running around.
I'm sure.
Betting on 18 parlays.
Long time Stooley.
I do think though that Goodell, as much as we hate him, it was smart of him to just come out and like the suspension was announced with the story. It wasn't like the story happened and then we waited. He was just like, yep, this happened, and he's getting suspended for a year.
Yeah, so I don't know all the circumstances around his leave of absence. I know that he said that he was taking a mental health break, but there are going to be a lot of people that look at the timing of that and look at his suspension for gambling and wonder exactly what was going on this season.
Yeah. It's the last 24 hours. The NFL is truly king.
You like that trick I just said? I said, like, I'm not saying it, but a lot of people will look at this.
The Emmanuel Acho.
And say that.
Correct. Yes.
People that look like me.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't think about people if you don't get the time to know someone who doesn't look like you, then you think they also are someone who you don't know who looks like you.
Mm-hmm. But also, wasn't he the one that said he didn't take the time to know who you were?
Correct. He doesn't know who I am.
Got it.
He also asked me. He asked me to block him because all of our interactions have been negative, which I don't even follow him. Mm-hmm. Why would I block him? Why would I block him for bad tweets?
I don't know. I'm telling you, the guy is an insane person.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
All right, let's do Hot Seat Cool Throw, and then we have an unbelievable interview with JJ Redick. All right, Hot Seat Cool Throw brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. The chaos of the big tournament can be unpredictable, to say the least, and even the best players take a moment to cool off on the bench. When you take a breather, take a seat with a refreshing Coors Light. Coors Light is the one I turn to when I'm sitting on my couch watching games, enjoying all of the tournament. So when you need a strategic timeout from the madness, reach for Coors Light. It's the beer that's made to chill so you can refresh the spirit and jump back into the excitement. Get Coors Light in the new look delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/take. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. CoorsLight.com/take. We love Coors Light. Show us your Blue Mountains these next few weeks when you're sitting watching a game at a bar on your couch, wherever you may be. Coors Light is the coldest, freshest beer out there. Okay, Hank, hot seat, cool throne.
My hot seat. Oh, let me get rid of the bonk list. My hot seat is.
Wait, what?
I updated the bonk list earlier.
Wait, what?
I was updating the bonk list earlier. I'm not going to tell you who said what and what was being put on. But that was at the top of my notes when I had to pull up hot seat, cool throne.
Do a mystery resume season.
Yeah. Blind resume. Blind resume, just the numbers but no names. He's got to count now.
X person followed every person named Brandy on Instagram just in case one of them was Coach O's wife.
Got it. Yep. We know who that is.
Well, that's it. That's all you're getting. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 14 cases on the bonk
14
list.
bonks. That's not bad.
No.
13 of them are PFTs?
No.
No. Less than 13. You're on there a couple times. Yeah.
12.
Is Jake on the list?
No. It's a two-man show right now.
That's sus to me, actually.
Yeah?
All right.
Jake's not. Yeah.
But yeah, let me get rid of that. And my hot seat. My hot seat is Spotify.
Oh.
They went down today. They were trending. There was like over, everyone was talking about how Spotify was down. I don't know if it's because they took away some of Joe Rogan's podcasts and he was fighting back, like recensoring the people that censored him. I don't know what's going on.
Joe Rogan was committing cyber warfare against Spotify. I like that idea.
Some people are suggesting that. Big corporations, big problems. Which brings me to my other hot seat, which is big oil.
Oh.
Everyone's talking about oil, but for this show, it's not the reason you'd expect. Shaq.
Yes.
Basically solved, he's solved oil.
Can we put the clip in?
Yes.
Because I told him I didn't want to get a certain vehicle because of the amount of gas I would have to spend. Yeah. It costs like $80
to fill it up.
And he said, then you said,
when it gets to half, then you put $20, you bring it back to full.
The crazy part is, I think Shaq's right.
He is.
It makes a lot of sense to me. No, it makes a lot of sense. Like you avoid going to the gas station at all costs, right? Yeah, right. Unless you're buying dip, in which case you invest in a Tesla.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you just go once a week, you end up spending less overall.
Yeah, but that's not. He was. What was he saying?
So Shaq said this was actually from a couple of years ago. Shaq said that instead of filling up your whole tank with $80 worth of gas, as soon as it gets to half a tank, you put in with $20,
which is where it's
so that you're just taking it from half a tank to 3/4 of a tank every time you go.
Yeah.
Because he said that psychologically, if you don't want to fill up your tank with $80 worth of gas, you can always just fill it up with $20 worth of gas.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? He should have just told Kenny stop being poor.
Yeah. You know what it really comes down to is he kind of is on the right theory. I find that it's more like when you have a quarter tank, you fill all the way up. Because then you never have to pay the full price that feels like, oh my God, it's $60. That's what but going every 5 days would be so annoying.
You know what's crazy is like Shaq almost got philosophical on us, and he almost did the whole, well, you'll actually never run out of gas because you'll have to use half your gas.
Right.
And then you'll have to use half your gas after that, and then half your gas after that, and you'll never get down to zero.
Yeah.
That would have melted. Charles Barkley's head would have exploded.
It would not have gone well for the studio. But yeah, that show is just the best. It absolutely is.
The best part was Shaq was actually being totally serious.
Oh, 100%.
Not joking at all.
You could sit. Someone had to have sat him down after and been like, dude, this is where your math doesn't really add up. And he probably still was like, nah, I disagree.
My favorite is when Ernie Johnson just looks down at his desk, doesn't move his eyes, and just starts sweating.
Yeah,
just
sweat
starts
pouring.
pouring. He's like, oh my God.
Yep.
I'm tapping out.
And your cool throne?
A cool throne is camcorders.
Yeah.
This has been kind of, an evolution the past few years. You've seen people kind of going stylistically. I use a film camera. A lot of people use film cameras even though, they're old. They like the look. They like the vintageness. And then you have people like Chet Holmgren's dad, who was seen in the crowd filming him with a camcorder straight out of, 2004.
It was.
And you can, for some reason, that seems like he's not doing that to be trendy. He's just never stopped doing it since 2000.
Should I burst the bubble or not?
Yeah.
Nope. Okay. It was pointed out to me because I tweeted the picture of it. It was pointed out to me by a lot of people that they actually, I think Gonzaga fans, there was a feature on him, his dad, and it's actually a really expensive 4K camera, and he doesn't like it when people say it's a camcorder.
Oh, his dad's like a filmmaker?
Yeah, but it looks like a camcorder. It looks like an old school camcorder.
I'm going to call it a camcorder.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do that. And I think that camcorder should be the standard at sporting events, especially the dunk contest and the home run derby.
Yes.
You should be rocking a cam. You should be on your iPhone.
Or a flip phone.
Maybe a flip phone.
Yes, flip phone as well. I was upset when everyone burst my bubble with that last night because I
mean, that's a camcorder.
It's a camcorder.
It looks like a camcorder.
That's like, we used to have this it's not.
But people were like, no, it's actually a really nice camera that he loves to use and doesn't like when people say it's a camcorder.
Was that an HVX 500?
Sucks. Ruined the moment. It's great though seeing him. He's got fucking long ass fingers,
dude. Well, yeah. So does Chet.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I've got an idea for Chet. So I think that Kevin Durant has forfeited the nickname the Slim Reaper. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is a Slim Reaper.
Yeah,
we're looking at Slim Reaper here. His body type is so similar to Kevin Durant's. He has the really long arms, very skinny. He's got the narrow shoulders where the jersey's almost falling off of it. I feel like we need to repurpose the Slim Reaper nickname and give it to Chet Holmgren.
I'm in for it. It's one of the greatest nicknames ever. It's also going to be awesome when Chet Holmgren figures out what a weight room looks like and he puts on those 25 pounds of muscle and everyone's like, watch out for Chet Holmgren.
Or alternatively, he could become just a big baggy white t-shirt guy underneath the jersey. I love those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Works for Gonzaga. All right, Pitty, your hot seat, cool throw.
My hot seat is testicles.
Okay.
Because people are starting to schedule their annual vasectomies for March Madness. I want to know if anybody actually does this.
I know of friends that have done it.
So every year, the old inbox gets filled up with PR pitches for a brand new initiative celebrating vasectomy month. I want to meet the guy that's had 4 vasectomies just every year in March, because I guess you get a day, maybe 2 days, where you just have to sit down, put frozen peas on your nuts, and not leave the couch for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I never understood was why don't you just do that on your own without the frozen peas and the surgery?
Yeah, you don't need to actually get your nutsack.
Yeah, you just sit there and watch sports.
Or you can just lie. Actually, that's a good business idea, is just start a fake vasectomy clinic.
Yeah.
Where you go in, you just sit there for, I don't know, an hour or two, and then you come out, you pretend to limp, you get picked up by your wife, you get taken home, you're like, honey, I had a vasectomy. I guess I could see some issues with that down the road if you actually got her pregnant again. But I'm talking about a short-term solution. But yeah, vasectomies are back big time.
This is like the vasectomies in shorts.
Vasectomies in shorts.
The springtime who's back.
The first Robin of
hot
spring.
Cool throne.
My cool throne is Kyler Murray, because that's one piece of quarterback news that we did not talk about today. He refollowed the Cardinals. He re-uploaded all of his pictures of him,
good for him,
in Cardinals uniforms onto his own Instagram page. So I guess he's happy now.
The message was sent.
Message received. I think both sides came to a mutual understanding that this whole thing was fucking stupid.
Yep.
And so I guess he's going to be the quarterback of the Cardinals again next year.
Good for Kyler. Way to come back, man. All right, my hot seat is Russell Westbrook, not Westbrick.
Bleep that out, Hank.
So there was a non-parody story written, fully real, by Dave McMenamin on ESPN. He said the title of the story was Lakers Russell Westbrook speaks out about harassment family has been subject to, vows to push back on Westbrick taunts. He said, Westbrick, for example, to me is now shaming, he said, referring to a condescending nickname that makes the rounds online seemingly whenever he has a poor performance. It's shaming my name, my legacy for my kids. It's a name that means not just to me, but to my wife, to my mom, to my dad, the ones that kind of paved the way for me. Now, I understand what he's saying, but you know what you shouldn't do is be like, hey, this nickname everyone's giving me, this taunt bothers me, because that's going to get worse. It was trending almost immediately.
You don't think people are going to stop?
Yeah, no, people will definitely stop. Westbrick.
It's a slur.
It's also just so perfect because he bricks a lot.
Maybe the better idea for him, instead of like coming out publicly and saying that I won't allow you to disrespect my name, is just start shooting less.
Yeah.
I think that would probably solve it a little bit more.
Or shooting better.
Also, well, that's not going to happen.
Well, he could, but just try even harder.
This is a message directly at Skip Bayless. I think Skip Bayless invented the name Westbrook.
I think he did as well.
Right?
Yes.
So Skip Bayless, as far as I know, is the only one that can stop it since he created it.
Yeah, you created this monster, Skip. Fix it now. All right. My cool throne was Emmanuel Acho, who doesn't like me, and we're always negative to him, even though I don't think we've ever brought him up until, the weed thing in the Olympics. That was also stupid.
I think I did get mad at him publicly for stealing tweets too.
He's gonna be featured in the Takeys, I'd say.
I'd say he's on the fast track.
Yeah, he's having a banner year. Billy, your hot seat cool throw.
Shaq was on my hot seat, but my other hot seat is Jorge Masvidal. After his loss over the past weekend, is now opened up a chance that many are saying he should fight Conor McGregor next. And I think that'd be a great fight for both of them to come back.
Two washed kings.
Two strikers. Just because they got out-wrestled in both their fights. So it would be a good fight. So
big sellers.
Big
huge.
sellers.
I think hopefully Dana White can make that happen.
Way to be prepared with 2 hot seats, Billy.
Oh, I have a third one.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Central Park. There's an arsonist. He's setting it on fire. My cool throne.
The entire
Is that
parkway.
you? Are you the arsonist? Is that like a...
Interesting.
Well, he set the Fox Christmas tree on fire.
Well, there's someone setting brush fires in Central Park right now, currently. That was my third backup.
You should go hunt them.
I know. That would actually be fun. Hunt the arsonist?
Yeah.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. My cool throne is the 2022 NFL draft class. So I have crafted the whole bracket list. If now is a good time to do that.
Let's do it. I want to make this a big deal. Let's do it on Friday.
Perfect.
I want to make it like I want to actually like really dig into
Let's
this.
get into it.
Do you have the spiral?
Yes, I have fuckable spirals.
Okay, great. All right, so Friday, that's a little teaser for everyone in the
Perfect.
biz. Friday, we will be doing Billy's draft bracket and fuckable spiral bracket.
My second cool throne is women, because it's International Women's Day today.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers ruined it.
Mm-hmm.
Asshole.
You want to shout out your G-Ma?
Shout out Grandma
Oh,
Chili.
not your regular mom?
and my mom. I don't know who you're talking about.
Jilly.
Jilly.
Oh, yeah, shout out Jilly.
Jilly football.
Shout out Jilly.
Yeah.
What was that look?
I've never met her.
Oh.
Wait, you've never met Jilly?
Oh, yeah,
No.
we hired Jilly to cuck Billy. That's right.
Didn't she
was
come
a
in
cuck
like
hire.
6 months ago or
Yeah,
something?
she might have been, but I think Billy was like, I'm not coming in.
Rico situation.
That was
yeah.
when Billy was on one of
It's in
his,
my contract.
one of his little breaks.
Jake, your hot seat cool throw.
My hot seat's Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
He is making the trip to Philadelphia Thursday night. Hank, any advice for him as a guy who is not well received by Philly fans?
I mean, there's nothing we worry about. They're all soft, all bark, no bite. They're not going to do shit.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome. I think this is
Not playing, though.
must-watch TV though. He's filing a complaint to the league, right? And he's planning on using some of the. He's like pre-planning the abuse that he's going to receive when he returns to Philly as part of his complaint to the league. That's an interesting tactic. To be like, just watch how badly I'm about to be treated.
Right.
He's getting pre-mad about it.
Right.
Yeah, should be interesting. My cool throne, buzzer beaters. We had our first true buzzer beater.
It was
of
awesome.
Champ Week. Chattanooga over Furman. Deep 3. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's the beginning.
And it was also the perfect buzzer beater because it was right after a made basket. So it was like
No
there's-
timeout.
Yeah, there's buzzer beaters where it's, a 20-second possession and they hit a buzzer beater. This was truly like mayhem, no time to think, run down the floor.
Like when I watch my YouTube compilations on March 1st, this one will be there forever.
You do that?
Yeah, buzzer beaters.
You just pull it up?
Yeah.
How long is it?
It's like 5-10 minutes. Similar to what Liam does with home runs. I do with buzzer
Oh,
beaters.
yeah, that's right. I forgot Bubba does that. He just pulls up some dingers.
Yeah, I do the same with buzzer beaters.
Won't do it this year.
I also love the
I'll still
pile-on
do it.
after the fact.
Yeah.
You see that? The student
Shirtless
section jumping on.
students.
There were like 9 guys that were all shirtless. Some of them I think were wearing just underwear in the stands, and they just like stormed the court and created the pile. And everyone was like, "Yeah, whatever. It's March."
There was also some stolen valor. It looked like there was a couple guys in raincoats.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
which
there's
actually I
their
like that
colors,
move.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that
It
move.
spreads.
Too. Right. It does spread.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Bubba?
Also, by the time you're listening to this, the Wisconsin PMTV video will be out. It comes
We don't
out
have to
tonight on
run
Tuesday.
that.
It's very funny.
No,
Champions.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Champions.
Celebrating championships.
Number 1 seed. Let's go.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
It is great.
It was a very funny video. I think I haven't seen any of the clips, but that entire trip was just absurd. So
Yeah.
I'm sure Bubba got some great footage.
Yeah. All right. Good hot seat cool throne, Jake, and Billy, and Hank, and PFT. Let's get to JJ Redick. Great interview with him. He joined us in studio. All right. We now welcome on JJ Redick. Great to have you in studio. It's brought to you by our friends at McDonald's All American. Tune in on March 29th. Girls game at 6:30. Boys game at 9 p.m. You were in the game in 2002. You led the East team with a big win at Madison Square Garden, playing along guys like Carmelo Anthony and Chris Bosh. This was the 25th annual version of the McDonald's All American game, the inaugural girls game back then. 2022 is also a big year. The games are back for the first time since 2019 and returning to their main host city of Chicago, celebrating 45 years of legacy and commitment to high school basketball. Tune in March 29th, Tuesday, March 29th. The girls' game starts at 6:30. The boys' game begins at 9 p.m. Catch the game live on March 29th at Wintrust Arena if you're in Chicago. So do it. Check it out. March 29th, girls' game starts at 6:30. Boys' game starts at 9. There's nothing like McDonald's All American where you get to watch a bunch of future stars ball out. Check it out. March 29th, 6:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. is the boys' game. It is J.J. Redick, the old man in the 3. Go listen to it now. He's wearing the hat everywhere. Fresh off of the legacy tarnishing loss by Coach K that he was at. What was it like to go to a funeral for a living person?
Oh, man. I figured we would start here.
The best is that JJ and I drove in together, and like we was very cordial, and then it was just like, all right, camera's on? Okay. Coach K, huge bust.
Overrated?
Overrated.
Well, no, I was saying yesterday, like that's going to be the lasting memory I think a lot of people have on him, is him being like, hey, shut the fuck up, student section. Where's my bench?
Yeah.
Sorry about the loss.
Let me have that bench.
The shitty part about it is that UNC fans will now, for the next 40 or 50 years, they won't let us live this down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shitty part. I mean, I still get shit from UNC fans because they won on my senior night.
Oh.
And in terms of scale, it's like my senior night, Coach K's final home game.
Right.
So I can't imagine the amount of gloating that's going to happen.
Well, it also was senior night, right? For the students that were there, like the current seniors.
Was it?
Yeah, no.
They should get they should get another senior night.
Yes. They barely had senior night. Realistically, though, like in all seriousness, I mean, I hate Duke, I hate Coach K, but I will allow you to tell us right now, is he a good coach? Like, was he a good? Is he the best coach you ever had?
He's the best coach I ever played for. High school, AAU, college. Six coaches in the pros, I think. Yeah, he was the best coach I played for.
He was the best coach you ever played for.
I want to just say real quick, look, I know it was a shitty loss, and it certainly dampened the night and the celebration.
Not for me.
But, we came out to form that tunnel or whatever it was for him to walk out through all the former players. I think there was 96 of us there. I ended up, by chance, being next to Jay Williams and Leitner in the tunnel towards the front of it. We went out, took a picture with Coach, and we're walking up to our seats, and Wojo turns to me. He's like, man, can you believe how lucky we are? And look, everybody likes to shit on Duke. I get it. But I made that decision to go to Duke at 16 years old. It was the best decision I ever made in my life. And I feel so lucky that I got to be part of the program. And truthfully, like, this is not a knock on anything Duke has done or anything that has happened in college basketball, but I got to be part of Duke when Duke was Duke.
Yes.
Prior to the one-and-done era. My draft class in 2006 was the first draft where high school kids couldn't come out. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I got to experience the Duke that Grant Hill got to experience, that Johnny Dawkins got to experience, that Elton Brand got to experience. Like, it was a great 4 years. It was mental fuckery every day. But I loved every minute of it.
So about that, the mental fuckery, because obviously Coach K's probably the GOAT, John Wooden, whatever. We can have that discussion on First Take with Stephen A. You can have that next or later this week. What would Coach K do in terms of motivation that would sometimes you'd be like, man, is he fucking with us? Like, what is he doing right now? Because it's a Bobby Knight school of Bobby Knight, like hard coaching, I would assume.
One of my teammates for 3 years was Shavlik Randolph. He was in my class, and Shav had an up-and-down career at Duke. And one year he got mono and missed a ton of time and never was really the same that season. But he had some flashes. He had a really good NBA career, played overseas, made a ton of money. But I think it was his sophomore year. We were in a team meeting, and Shav had a bad game. And Coach said to him, Shav, you're never going to play in the NBA, son. You need to learn how to screw in light bulbs. Now, for a lot of us, we're like, what does that mean? His dad had a janitorial staffing company. Like that's how deep.
Shaveless.
Shaveless.
My God.
That's how deep these cuts were. The meanest thing coach ever said to me was after my sophomore year. I had a terrible. I mean, I was third team All American and second team All ACC. I was our leading scorer on a Final Four team, but I had a terrible season, and I was a jackass the whole year. I was out in the streets. I was living the life as a frat kid. I was not committed. I was very overweight. We had a series of meetings in April after the Final Four that year. He would make me come in every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. And in one of those meetings, he said to me, "We didn't win a national championship because you weren't worthy to be a champion." Ooh. I still think about that.
Yeah.
It hurt so bad. And truthfully, I made sure the rest of my career that a coach couldn't say that about me. Mm-hmm. It was a big moment.
And he was
but
right,
as a 19,
though.
He was 100% correct. As a 19-year-old kid to hear that, though, man, it was so devastating.
It sounds like he's mastered the art of, like, when your parents tell you, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
Right.
But he's also mad at you at the same time. He's like, I'm both mad and disappointed with you.
Yeah, maybe some of it is like a feeling of betrayal. I know that sounds weird. And looking back, I did. I betrayed him my sophomore year. I betrayed the program my sophomore year. Last time, by the way, it feels like the third time I've been on the show because you guys reran the Clippers video like a year after the fact I was on the show, and then it blew up, and I'm getting hit up on Instagram and Twitter, and everybody's giving me shit, and I'm like, I didn't do an interview about the Clippers recently.
You know what though? Like I feel like we do have like a level of comfort with each other, and it sounds to me like you're still like you're beating yourself up over your betrayal of Coach K. Like he made you feel so bad about that to this day you're like, I sinned. I can only beg for forgiveness. It's okay. I think you overcame it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I don't. You have to go through things in life, hard things, some of them self-inflicted, unfortunately, to grow as a person and grow as a player. I wouldn't change anything about my career. I could hope and wish for better results. I would have loved to have won a championship at Duke. That still hurts, to be honest with you. It does hurt. I mean, I'm sitting there with Leitner and Jay Williams and Shane. You know, these guys have won a championship at Duke. I didn't get to win a championship. And so that hurts. The fact I didn't win in the pros, that will haunt me in some fashion the rest of my life. I'll never get over that. I'll never get over not winning at Duke, and I'll never get over it. No.
Like, so how does that manifest itself, though? Is it just a stray thought every now and then? Is it like, because, you know, we always say that players have this, but does it actually pop in your head on a random day? It's like, damn, that sucked.
I think you're reminded of it.
Yeah.
You're reminded of it at events like this. Or people will talk about the 5 greatest Duke players ever. And, like, I a lot of times actually get left off that list, which is fine.
That's kind of crazy.
Fine. I mean, I do this on television with Stephen A, where we have these debates, and you know, there's no way to really measure it. But had I won a national championship, you couldn't ever leave me off the top 5 Duke players ever. But because I didn't, you know, so it's stuff like that. The NBA stuff. Look, I would have taken my career 10 times out of 10 if you had told me that, you know, at 13 or 14 years old, that I'd play in the league 15 years and get to the playoffs, play in the finals, and make the amount of money I did, score the amount of points I did, build the relationships that I did. I would take it all. But it hurts, man. I never played basketball for all that stuff. Certainly the team building and the relationship stuff was a huge part of it, but I played basketball to win.
Right.
And you know, I see a therapist. I talked to you guys before last time I was on the show about that. And when I retired, one of the things we talked about was like that moment that I'd always envisioned. You envision that moment. It's game 6. You're at home. There's 30 seconds left on the clock. You're up 11. You get a rebound. They foul. Everybody's realizing what is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to win the NBA championship. And you look up in the crowd, and you see your wife and your kids. You see your parents. You're hugging your teammates. There's a hug. There's an embrace with the coach. Like I've envisioned that moment so many times in my life, and the fact that it never happened, yeah, it fucking sucks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Coach K's there. He whispers in your ear, "You're still fat."
You bring up
all of it.
Like it's interesting to think about that, because every sports psychologist will talk to you about the importance of visualization, right?
Yeah.
And if you visualize it so many times and then it just never happens, or let's say you visualize hitting a 3-pointer and then you go out there and you have a bad night, it's almost like you're distrusting your own visualizations at that point. You're like, I lied to myself. I told myself this was going to happen.
Well, that's fair, but I also think if you're someone that is a dreamer and that dreams big at a high level, like I never visualized myself scoring a basket in the NBA. I visualized myself playing in an all-star game or winning an NBA championship. I visualized being the all-time leading scorer at Duke and getting my jersey hung in the rafters and sitting there and watching One Shining Moment on CBS. Like I visualize big things.
Right.
And so if you fail at those, like that's not the end of the world. It really isn't. Like,
Right.
You're visualizing huge things. Like I feel like I accomplished a lot in my basketball career. And it's the same way now. We were having a long conversation on the car ride over here, me and Dan were, and like I'm envisioning another big thing or another couple big things, and those things take time, just as my career took time and the work I've had to put in. But I don't like now. Truthfully, I said this to somebody the other day. I used to when I was a kid, and even when I played, like I'm throughout the day, I'm visualizing, like you said, I'm visualizing hitting a three. I'm visualizing my footwork, my form, the arc of the basketball. I'd sit in bed at night when I was a kid and just think of basketball moves. And now I'm doing that with my golf swing and the ball flight.
Nice.
So it's like one obsession becomes another obsession.
I do think you're being very hard on yourself, and I understand it.
Thanks,
like competitive.
man.
No, you are. Like your competitive nature, the reason why when you ever talk to any athlete who did it at such a high level, it's like a blessing and a curse, because the reason why they got to that high level is because their obsession, their competitive nature, and then the reason why they're hard on themselves instead of being like, I played in the NBA for what was 13, 16? 15 years. You're top 5 Duke player in my book. That's a fact. You should maybe put that.
Same.
Yeah, there you go. Hank's got it. But like you're being very hard on yourself, where it's like only how many players win national titles, only how many players win, NBA championships. It's so small. And you were so exceptional for so long. So cheer up.
I will. I think it's the feeling. To me, it's the feeling. I had that feeling. You win game 4 on the road to go up 3-1 in a playoff series, and you get back in the locker room. There's a feeling there.
Right.
You win an ACC championship. There's a feeling. You go into Carolina on your senior year, and you drop 35 on them, 24 in the second half. You walk off the court with a smirk. Like, that's a feeling. So I've had a bunch of great feelings. That feeling of winning it all, though, I got to experience that in high school and in AAU when we won a couple national championships. But to do it at the highest level, I didn't get to experience that. Mm-hmm. So I think part of it is like, I got to do some great things. I got to be on some great teams, build amazing friendships, win a lot of fucking games. But did I miss out? Did I miss out on, like, the best feeling?
Mm-hmm.
That's a question.
Are you fully retired? What if the Bucks need, a shooter here down the stretch?
Joe Harris not coming back for the rest of the season.
Yeah, you did say so. You were doing the broadcast of the Sixers game. Whatever, the time doesn't make sense anymore because we're gonna run this on Wednesday. But a week ago ish. And you said, like, I'm so out of shape during the broadcast because they're like, hey, could you get in there and maybe give him some minutes? How like bad would it be if you just went in right now
and played an NBA game?
Yeah, like how bad? Like would it? Injuries aside,
I'm not injured anymore, but it would be blatantly obvious that I did not belong on an NBA court within 2 or 3 possessions.
And that's crazy to me. Like just that, how fast it's like.
Yeah.
You just retired, 7 months ago, and it's like if you went on an NBA court, people are like, wait, that guy shouldn't be here.
Kyle Korver said something great. He never officially retired. And a few months into last season, into the 2020-2021 season, he did an interview and they asked him about why, he hadn't announced or why he didn't come back. And he had this, I'm going to butcher the quote, but essentially it was, I would never cheat the game. And Kyle knew, and I know what all goes into it. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, teams called last summer, teams called around the trade deadline, teams have called since, but I can't cheat the game. I know what I have to put into it
right,
to play and compete, and like it's not that it's not something I want to do, don't want to do or want to do. It's just I'm retired. I left completely satisfied, completely happy, minus not winning a championship. And you're like, well, why don't you try? I'm like, I can't cheat the game. I can't cheat the game.
I ask it just because, the internet, we do it from time to time where we throw out stupid hypotheticals of like, oh, like if we play, could we score 1 point and it's funny to hear from a fucking 15-year NBA pro who's been retired for 7 months to be like, yeah, if I showed up on a court right now, I'd be like sticking out like a sore thumb. And then we have hypotheticals that go viral every now and then being like, could you score on LeBron?
Yeah, I see those all the time where guys like,
we're like, yes,
guys
definitely.
like, if I played 40 minutes in an NBA game, could I score 20 points?
Right. It's so funny.
No.
So could you score against LeBron?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how many chances am I
wow,
getting?
he doesn't play. You know what? You're cheating the game right now. It's disrespectful.
Also, LeBron doesn't play defense.
Well, neither does JJ.
Yeah, it's true.
Late in my career, I tried.
You tried hard.
The other thing too is, again, Philly fans are the best. They're the best, and they've inundated my social media accounts with "Please come back." This. You're better than this guy on the roster or whatever. You could really help us in the playoffs. And when I retired, people were like, you got a lot left in the like. I'm 37 years old.
Right.
My body, my mind, my emotions were fucking fried. I had nothing left in the tank. I don't have anything left right now. I have nothing left in the tank.
Tell us about it. We're 37 as well.
It's kind of nice though, because you did go out at a place where like you're still in that conversation of if a team is close to winning a championship, they're just like they're one JJ away from being a contender. And I feel like, and I'm joking about your defense because obviously that was what was discussed when you were coming into the league. It's like, well, he could be a good scorer potentially, but you might as well not have anybody out there on defense. And it's like that probably like gave you some personal motivation because your defense is actually not bad. You gave a lot of effort on defense.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I don't care what everyone says about your defense. It's not that bad.
But it's not as bad as people were saying before
Correct.
you came into the league. I think you surprised a lot of people, and I think just like your style of play, you could probably play this year. You're hard on yourself, but I think you bring JJ in for the playoffs, he's going to hit a couple threes.
Again, we've been talking about this for 5 or 6 minutes now. Guys, I'm fucking retired.
No.
Would you say defense is the one part of basketball where like it really can come down to like, do you try hard at this or not?
It's a very hard thing to measure, and I follow analytics. I read all the advanced stats. There's so many different ways to measure offense. Defense is complicated. It's very complicated. I'll give you an example. Like my last year in Philly, I basically played all my minutes with Joel. And at the end of the season, his defensive rating was 104.8, which means every 100 possessions on average, estimated, this is based on box score, estimated the Sixers would give up 104.8 points per possession. My defensive rating was like 104.7. It was just below his. Now, are you telling me that the Sixers have a better defense when I'm on the court versus Joel? No. Advanced stats. There's a lot of guys that get a lot of deflections and steals because they have length. But they're like fucking matadors. They're chairs. Like they can't move their feet. They can't guard. What hurt me, honestly, on defense, like defensive concepts, team defense, be in the right spot, I nailed it. I was right. Part of that was playing for Stan and him not allowing me to play early in my career. I couldn't play for him until I got all that stuff and was perfect at it. In terms of staying in front of guys, like that was never my issue. My issue was I have a 6'3" wingspan and I'm 6'4". Mm-hmm. I don't ever want to be taller. I wish there was a drug, a pill you could take that would give me
you out.
Rajon Rondo wingspan.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah. It's why it's become, I feel like 20 years ago was height. Now it's like everyone height doesn't really matter. It's wingspan. Like guys who have freaky wingspan, that's everything. Who's got the biggest wingspan?
Dwight Howard.
I actually don't know who has the biggest wingspan.
Or who's got the wingspan?
Draymond's a great example. Draymond's a great example though because height-wise, we just did the podcast with Draymond in January in person, and there's a photo that we posted, and he's maybe an inch and a half taller than me, but he's got a 7'1" or 7'2" wingspan.
It's crazy.
And he's one of 10 basketball geniuses. I would say,
Well,
that are currently
who
playing.
are the other 9 basketball
I'd
geniuses?
have to look
No,
at every
you-
roster, but
It seems like you've got a top 10 in mind if you're putting Draymond in there already.
I'll
Give us
give
a couple.
I'll give you a top 5. I'll give you a top 5.
Okay.
So Draymond, Chris, LeBron, Rajon Rondo, and I'm gonna go with the guy that Draymond mentioned on the pod, and that's John Morant. I think John Morant's.
He's already a basketball genius.
Yeah, because we talk about when you play against certain players, you realize on every possession, whether it's offense or defense, they know exactly what the fuck is going on. They know how to manipulate your defense, and then they know exactly what you're running, exactly what you're looking for when you're on offense, and they are smart enough and communicate well enough to take all that shit away.
Is it like I've always heard the I think it was the Larry Bird, like he always thinks three passes ahead. Is it that? Do you feel that when you're playing a guy like that who's like they know, hey, when they make this move, it's going to lead to this, and then
yeah, if you watch Jokic play, if you watch LeBron play, when they're on offense, they see everything. And because they now have enough reps and because they're tall and they can see, not just see everything. Like I can watch film and I can see everything, but I'm 6'4" again. They're tall, so they see over everything. And they can anticipate, all right, if I bring this defender and kick it to that guy, there's going to be one defender on the backside, which means we're going to end up with a corner 3. Or they're going to have to make a bad decision and not rotate to the better shooter who's in the slot, and he's going to get a 3. And there's 100 possessions roughly in a game. They do that on every fucking possession.
that's crazy.
So Chris Paul, basketball genius as well.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the smartest thing that you've ever seen him do on a court?
All the foul baiting stuff.
Yeah.
Which is I hate.
Everybody hates it. I mean
if you know the rules, you can get away with,
it's
with
the refs.
pushing people to break them. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It's again, I used the word manipulate when he was on the podcast, and he does. He manipulates basketball. He manipulates every possession. I think he was. We had dinner afterwards, and he was kind of not offended, but he was kind of taken aback that I would use that word because there's a connotation with manipulation. There's a connotation, but the definition of manipulation is like an artful skill,
Right.
where you gain an advantage over someone, and that's what he's doing on a basketball court. That's what LeBron's doing on a basketball court.
Yeah, manipulate. I can see it's kind of like implying like a dark art or
Yes.
like a little underhandedness to it.
Yeah.
You use disrupt.
Well, because when we, I'm sure we've all said this about someone in daily life, not on a basketball court. Man, that person is manipulative, and that carries a pretty bad connotation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But on a basketball court, when you're manipulating a possession, there's an art, there's a skill to gaining an advantage. That's what I mean by that.
It's making, he puts Chris Paul and James Harden alike, we complain about it, but I really do only blame the NBA and the refs because they're just using the rules for their benefit. Like they're putting the refs in a difficult position. Like, hey, you got to make a call here because this is as close as it could be to a foul or whatever it may be. It's the rules that are the problem, not the players.
Well, the one rule that they got rid of, there's a couple rules that they've gotten rid of over the last few years, and one or both of them really, I've had to guard as a defender, and I've been taken advantage of. I've been taken advantage of. One is if you're guarding a guy that's a good shooter, and you are taught, and the game plan is you're going to fight over the screen on a pick and roll or a dribble handoff. And that guy, as you're fighting over, that guy stops and jumps back into you.
Yep.
There's no way you could stop, right? There's all your momentum is to chase him over that screen. And so now that's a non-shooting foul. I totally agree with that. And then the other one is, as a defender, you are legally allowed to, without extension, have your arm on a player's hip when you're guarding a dribble. And so James Harden's a perfect example. James Harden knows that. And so he's dribbling with his other hand, and he takes his offhand. He goes underneath your arm and then goes to collect the ball and tries to shoot it. Mm-hmm. Right? So, again, two things we're taught as defenders, and those guys figured out a way to take advantage of the system. Mm-hmm. Now those are and really the one, the arm underneath, they don't even call anymore.
That one was the worst.
Which is, again, it's a non-basketball play, so they don't even call it anymore. And really, the chasing over screen, there's really nothing you could do. It is a foul, so you have to call it, but it shouldn't be a shooting
The
foul.
James Harden move actually sounds like it should be a foul on James Harden to do it. Like he's bringing your arm in with his arm.
Yeah.
Well, off the ball, I used to do that all the time. I mean, I that's how I got free throws at Duke. I would wait till we were in the bonus.
Also because the refs cheated for you
and
guys.
I don't know about that, but off the ball, I'd wait till we get in the bonus, and when I saw 6 fouls and above, and we called floppy or any catch and shoot action for me to run off screens, as soon as a defender would put his arm on me, I would get to the screen and then do the same thing. I'd put my arm underneath his arm, and it looked like he was holding me as I came off the screen. When I got to the NBA, all the refs would be like, I saw you fucking do that at Duke. I'm not giving you that call.
They hated you too.
They knew.
What
They knew.
basketball genius we missed? Is Kevin Durant a basketball genius?
Oh, that's a good question.
I feel like he is.
Yeah. He is. He is. A lot of guys that are basketball geniuses, this is going to sound so simple. They are obsessed with basketball and they watch basketball.
There's
a lot you can learn. Like if I wanted to be a movie critic, I would talk to a movie critic and I'd say, give me 100 films to watch.
Yeah.
And I'd study those films and watch those films. And then by the end of that 100 watch viewing party, I could conceivably be a fairly good movie critic.
That's where Kevin Durant, I think.
It's just watching basketball.
Yeah, I think he, out of anyone in the NBA right now, I think he loves basketball more than anyone. The way he talks about it, the way he'll even, comment on Twitter, like guys who are doing stuff in AAU games that are not good for like their growth. You know what I mean? Like it does feel like he loves basketball to such a level that you can just tell.
The thing about him, he's a guy when he's 50 years old, he will be giving the next generation of players their flowers.
Yeah.
I don't see him being one of the haters.
No.
And there's a lot of guys right now that are saying that back-to-back MVPs would be a bench player in their era, which is insane. And AI is the one guy right now that is up there really pushing the narrative for today's generation that they're good. Like for me, the guys that are coming in the league right now, Jalen Green last night is a great example. He's figured out how to play basketball. Skill-wise, though, I don't know if you guys watched the Houston-Memphis game last night. I'm a sicko, so I watched the NBA every night.
I missed that one.
Yeah. But, he's doing things, and he hit a big shot down the stretch. It was, using his dribble package. And I'm like, dude, 19-year-olds 10 years ago could not do that move.
Yeah.
And so all these guys come in and are way more skilled, and they'll figure out through repetition, through film study, through coaching, they'll figure out how to play the right way. But I'm going to be a guy in 20 years. I'm going to be talking about how great that generation of players is.
See,
everybody says that.
Yeah,
though.
I don't believe that.
It comes for everybody. Like you're going to be a boomer soon.
Because
it
here's the thing.
It happens to all of us, and there'll be things that you can find that will be fun to hate on. But I think you're right. Overall, you'll be more of a positive guy. You want to acknowledge that you're a level-headed dude. It sounds like you don't have like animosity towards the younger generation or anything. But I think it's just fun when you get older to complain about the way young kids are doing stuff nowadays.
And on top of that, you say that now, and I believe you because I do think that you're, a reasonable. You're not going to just do a hot take, but in 20 years, there'll be people on Twitter or whatever the app is going to be being like, 2020 they were playing with janitors and plumbers because that's part of it too. You know what I mean? Like they make like a lot of the narrative is a pushback of Michael Jordan played against fucking like clowns, or Larry Bird played against, and Magic Johnson played against guys who had a sales job in the summer, like that kind of stuff. So when that comes for you, I think you'll probably be like, wait, hold on a second.
Michael Jordan had a great quote, and I'd never seen this clip before. I saw it on Twitter maybe 2 weeks ago. He was given an interview, and they were asking him about where this is prime Michael. This is 90s Michael. You could tell because he had enough bone structure. It wasn't Wizards, but he wasn't skinny like he was in the 80s. So it was like prime Michael. And they were asking him about where he sort of viewed himself amongst the greats. And he had a great quote. He said, look, I can't compare myself to the guys in the 70s or the guys in the 60s. I didn't get a chance to play against them. I didn't get a chance to compete against them. It's very hard, and we do it, and I'm guilty of this because I work for a take machine. We inevitably compare players of different generations, different eras, and it's impossible to do it. It's impossible to do it.
It's also like,
but it's fun.
Yeah, no,
it's
people
fun.
get mad about it, and people get mad like, oh, why do we have to have the Hall of Fame debate, all this stuff? this is just what sports fans do. We debate stupid shit, and at the end of the day, no one's ever going to change their mind fully, but we're going to be entertained by it because it's a fun hypothetical to talk about.
I went on a long rant on the podcast about the top 75 list, and
did you think for a second maybe you'd be on it?
No.
You were like,
God.
Well, 78, 79.
Top 1,000 list. No, but I wish the NBA had not included all 50 guys from the top 50 list.
Oh, like people get relegated.
Oh, I like this take.
I wish, because I do think there were more players over the last 25 years by criteria, certainly by criteria, that should have been on that list. Dwight Howard's a great example.
Mm-hmm. Dame, maybe.
We at the same time, we should be able to celebrate what players did in their era versus their peers. But when we talk about the skill, you can't tell me that Kyrie Irving is not a top 75 basketball player.
Right. Mm-hmm. Tracy McGrady,
Vince Carter. Like, these guys are easily 75 of the best basketball players. Now, relative to what they accomplished in terms of all NBA stuff, championships, I get all that. But we should also contextualize the 50s and 60s when there were 8 teams, and when the Celtics had their run for a lot of those years, they got a first-round bye. They played one series in the East, and then they won the championship.
Mickey Mouse championships.
This is how the league was set up back then. Mm-hmm. But let's just have that in the back of our minds when we talk about some of the accomplishments from that era.
Yeah.
So it's gotten harder if you're a star player with 30 teams. And again, the 80s, I think the 80s started out with 23 teams, 22 teams, something like this. It wasn't until expansion with Minnesota and Miami and Orlando.
Vancouver.
Right.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out big country.
That we got to 30 teams. So, you could make the argument, well, the league's diluted. No, there's far more good basketball players today than there were 60 years ago.
Yes, agreed.
I think that's fair. And I caught a clip of you debating against Stephen A., who must be like awesome to work with as a debater. One of your first debates was like, do people fear LeBron James? And I was watching you try to have like a logical argument in a debate over whether or not people are afraid of LeBron James. And I was cracking up because like at some point it sounded like you were trying to answer the question like, do people fear him in a basketball sense? Like, you don't want to play him in the playoffs? Or are people like afraid that he will physically beat you up? But Stephen A. was like running circles because he kept changing.
He kept changing what he was saying.
Yeah.
He was when he first started, because the whole issue was about Isaiah Stewart having a moment of rage and going ballistic and requiring 6 people to tackle him on a basketball court. So the first part of the debate, I thought we were debating the physical factor of LeBron. And then it became about the basketball on a basketball court, whether we feared somebody. Mm-hmm. So he just kept changing it depending on my take.
Uh-huh.
Ultimately, I won that debate. There's no question.
What's your record right now?
With Stephen A?
Yeah.
I don't know, 7-0, 8-0.
Oh wow! Can I give you a good one that we were talking about yesterday on the show? But I'm still waiting. I think there's something there with someone taking the alternative approach and saying Russell Westbrook actually needs the ball more, and like he's not the reason the Lakers stink. It's actually they aren't featuring him enough. Throw that out there and see how it works. I bet you could find some stats.
I don't hate that take.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you why. So when the trade happened, my immediate thought was like, how's that going to work?
Yep.
LeBron's going to have the ball. They're going to feature AD in the post. So you've got Russell Westbrook playing off the ball, and he's a career 30% shooter from 3. And I haven't looked at his stats in the last 2 weeks, like overall for this season. But there was a point in time in January where if you looked and you're like, all right, Russell Westbrook, he's shooting this from 2, he's shooting this from 3, he's turning the ball over this amount of times per game. Here's what his usage percentage was prior to this. Here's what his usage percentage is now. And you look at it and you're like, no, the Lakers got who they traded for. Like, this is who Russell Westbrook is. So if you're not going to allow him to play to all of his strengths, which is be a ball-dominant guard, what the fuck did you expect?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to be a role player. He wasn't going to be a spot-up-and-shoot guy.
Right. To me, look, again, I'm not knocking Russ. What I'm saying is if I'm the Lakers and I'm looking at how to build around LeBron and AD and trying to win a championship this season, I would have taken a very different approach.
Buddy Hield.
I don't know if it's Buddy, but I would have taken a different approach.
Buddy was the name, that everyone was thinking.
That sack deal was done.
Yeah.
The sack deal was done. I mean, Kuzma called Tyrese Halliburton like, hey, guy, can't wait to be your teammate.
Sacramento.
Yeah, I'm there.
Fun.
Let's do it. In and
Let's
out.
do it.
Going to get back to JJ, but before we do, want to talk to you about BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a great company that's teamed up with us here at Part of My Take. They want to remind you to take care of your most important relationship. That's the one that you have with yourself. Whether it's hitting the gym, making time for your haircut, or even trying therapy, you are your greatest asset. So invest the time, invest the effort into yourself like you do for other people. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Just give it a try. See why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month when you go to betterhelp.com/PMT. That's BetterHelp.com/PMT. 10% off. This interview is also brought to you by Roman. Most guys have tried different ways to last longer in bed. Thinking about baseball doesn't always work. The folks at Roman, an online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman Swipes. It's the secret to longer-lasting sex. Roman Swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, they're fast-acting. They don't require a prescription, though. Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging. Each swipes packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. They're super easy to use. You just take the swipes out of the packet, swipe it on, you let it dry, you're good to go, and that's it. Go to GetRoman.com/take. Get your first month of swipes for just $5. That's when you choose a monthly plan at GetRoman.com/take. Now back to more JJ Redick.
All right, so let's talk a little NBA this year. Who do you think is going to win the East and the West? We'll go East first because it's a great East. Yeah. It's an unbelievable East. Like there's going to be, the Celtics obviously have come on. I think the Sixers have, the best combo. It's going to be awesome to watch. So what do you think? In the Heat, everyone forgets. I always forget about the Heat. Heat are the 1 seed right now.
Yeah. The East is fascinating this year. So a lot of success in the playoffs is very much matchup dependent, and I got to see that throughout my career. There were certain teams that we always felt like this is a great matchup for us. And there were certain teams where you knew it was going to be tough. And the further you go in the playoffs, it gets tougher and tougher because those teams are battle-tested and clearly they're good enough to win. The East is very much seed dependent to me, and we're going to see some fascinating matchups in the first round. Like I could envision a scenario where Chicago Bulls get the 2 seed and they've got a dogfight against whoever wins the 7 seed in the play-in.
Yeah.
Because that could be the Nets.
Yeah.
It might be the Celtics.
And
it could even be Toronto. Toronto healthy is a really good basketball team.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse is an outstanding coach. So the Eastern Conference is fascinating. If you are asking who I think is going to win, everybody's healthy. And let's just say the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, to me, it's going to end up being the Bucks and the Miami Heat. And I think the Miami Heat are the best team in the East.
Wow. The matchup dependent thing is so true. I remember specifically like learning that lesson, the famous Dirk versus Warriors series. Remember that?
Yep.
Was that a 1-8?
That was a 1-8.
And it was like everyone in the world was like, no, this is going to be a problem. And then Dirk it was back when they gave the MVP out in the second round, and he got the MVP after they had been bounced. That was like, oh shit, like this is truly, it doesn't matter. Seeding obviously matters in the NBA because it does feel like the high seeds usually advance, but matchups are so important. So why are the Heat the best team in the East? Like in your mind watching them?
To me, they're the most complete team. To me, and again, this is health dependent. Like I would love to see the Bucks with Brook Lopez. He gives them something, especially defensively, that they don't have right now. And Bobby Portis has had an outstanding season, and the fact that he's making whatever he's making, $4.8 million, and averaging 15 and 9 as a starter, like, that's incredible value for them. And he's had a great season. Yeah, Pat
been hurt.
Yeah, Pat Connaughton's been hurt. The Heat have, to me, the most versatile 5 men, and we saw this last week against the Bulls, where Bam can sit there and play drop coverage very well. and they can stay at home on shooters and allow the pick and rolls to operate as a 2 versus 2 thing. He can hedge out and play really aggressive, almost in a blitz, and their entire defense is very, very much like a swarming defense. We saw that against Philly the other night when they just harassed Joel Embiid. But against the Bulls, he would switch on to DeMar, and he can guard him one-on-one. He can guard guys one-on-one. So it starts with him. They've got big wing defenders, Jimmy Butler, P.J. Tucker, obviously. They've got an abundance of shooting, Duncan, Tyler Hero, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent. Yeah, Duncan.
He hasn't really shot this. I wouldn't put him in abundance of shooting this year.
I'd just say he's more of a podcaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy really needs to stop podcasting and just work on his game,
Yes.
you know? No, and then you need shot creation, and they have 2 guys that can create their own shot. And by the way, I didn't even mention Kyle Lowry, who's a champion, had a huge Game 6 when they closed out the Warriors, elite charge-taking machine. Like they've got everything. They've got the culture. They've got the coaching. I think Spo's one of the 2 best coaches in the league, along with Tyronn Lue.
Really?
So I like their team a lot.
No pop.
Ty Lue, number 1.
Did I say that?
So what about so it sounds to me like you're saying that even everybody's healthy, vaccination status copacetic, the Nets are just not going to do it this year.
I just, again, it's like with LeBron or with Kevin Durant, even Steph, it's hard to count one of their teams out. So it's hard to say, like, I don't see the Nets. I could see the Nets winning the East for sure. There's just so many question marks, including Ben Simmons' health. If Ben Simmons is healthy and he's playing the 5, he's able to switch, disrupt on defense, be a playmaking 5 down the stretch and pick and roll with Kevin and Kyrie. They have shooting, like even without Joe Harris. Patty Mills has been great. Like I could see them making a run for sure. But I think the Heat is the most complete. The Heat is the team to me, health aside, where I'm like, that team has the least amount of question marks to me.
Yeah.
Right. Here's another take that you can use. I think Kevin O'Connor's also on this too, but we've been saying for the last couple of years, Ben Simmons is actually right-handed. He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, I've told Ben that.
Have you?
Yeah.
And what do you say?
He disagrees with me, but when I watch him write, he does it with his right hand. If I asked him to throw, he would do it with his right hand. Even when he jumps, like think about a lot of his, not all of them, but a lot of his dunks, he jumps off his left foot.
Yeah.
Like that's what a right-handed person does.
Oh. Wait, so
and I've watched him shoot, and the form is more resembles a proper shot than with his left hand.
So we were just saying that because he's so bad with his left hand that he must be right. But you're saying there's actually like an element of truth to that he writes right-handed?
I think he's a right-handed person that shoots the basketball left-handed.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Why would
DeAndre Jordan was the same way. I used to tease DeAndre about this. Like we used to go when I first got to LA prior to kids. DeAndre would always invite me over after practice. So he lived in the Palisades, and there was this canyon below his house. And if you hit it across the canyon, like if you hit a driver, you would hit it into Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's house. So we tried not to slice it with our driver, but we would hit the balls down into the canyon, and he swings a golf club right. Like he's right-handed. He swings a golf club right-handed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he got a letter, by the way, from the homeowners association down there, telling him not to continue to hit golf balls. You're hitting cars, houses, horses. There's horses down there.
Amazing. All right, so West, real quick. Obviously, Chris Paul's a genius, like you said, but he chokes in the playoffs, so that will be what?
What?
He chokes in the playoffs.
Give me what's an example of that?
I'm looking back on the last 13 years. Yeah, 13 years. 14.
Look, you guys have some intentional and some unintentional. You guys have a lot of bad takes. That's just a bad take.
It's
a bad take.
Prove me wrong.
Okay.
How many titles?
Well, again,
it's this easy, PFT.
We'll
teach you how to podcast.
You want to live in this ring culture.
You want to
live in this ring culture.
You got a ring in the ring culture.
Chris Paul does not have a ring.
That's interesting.
last year in the playoffs, just dismantling the Denver Nuggets in the second round.
Oh, was that that was the second round? Second round.
They were playing the MVP. He won the MVP last year. Jokic.
Got it.
But
the second round.
And then they won the Western Conference Finals. I don't know if you remember that.
And then so they must have won the title.
Well, they were up 2-0. They were up 2-0, and then Giannis went crazy. And by the way, like I got into this debate with Stephen A. when he was talking. I can't remember what his take was on something. It was like a take within a take. And when you think about last year's finals, it literally came down to 2 plays. Giannis's block, which was one of the greatest basketball plays I've ever seen, and then Devin Booker getting stripped. And I think that was game 5. Giannis's block was either game 3 or game 4. That series could have easily been in the Suns' favor.
If it was 3-0 Suns.
And what do those things have to do with Chris Paul?
Well, the funny thing is like
what do those things by the way, I played with Chris Paul in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, game 7 against the Spurs, we're playing the defending champions, the hardest series of my career by far. He hits the game winner over the outstretched arms of Tim Duncan. The year we lost to Utah, Blake gets hurt. We're up 2-1. Blake gets hurt in game 3. And Chris just dominates that series. It was at no fault of his that we lost that series. Like, he shows up. I think one of the issues with Chris is, like, Chris in the playoffs, like, so Chris is very much like a 20-10 guy, right? And probably in the playoffs, most series, he's going to give you 20 and 10. And you can find examples where he did, right? Whatever. But the stats are always there. The numbers are always there. The play is always there. What maybe gets missed at times is like the Giannis 50 ball in game 6. Like, Chris doesn't supernova. Chris doesn't have the supernova. And some of that is because of the way he plays. And he talked about this in the pod. Like, his whole mindset is, I'm going to get my guys going. I'm going to facilitate. I'm going to look to pick my spots. And then when it gets to the fourth quarter, it's takeover time. And he does that.
Here's the thing with Chris Paul. I have nothing against Chris Paul. When you podcast long enough, you'll learn this. Sometimes takes.
How long have y'all been podcasting?
We've been doing this one for 6 years.
I've been podcasting for 6 years too.
What?
Yeah, I started February 2016, guys. Thanks.
Who listened?
A lot of people actually listened.
Wait, you started at the same month that we did?
Wow.
Really?
Well, I was podcasting before that too, but anyway, when once you become a seasoned vet like us, sometimes takes are created off of other takes. And our Chris Paul take is mostly based on the fact that Ryan Russillo did a weird rant where he said he wanted to adopt Chris Paul as his son. And then we had to be like, now he's a choker. So it's like when other people invest in a take, then it goes wrong. Then you have to like double down on top of them.
Right. So you guys are you're looking for the anti-take, the just going against somebody else's take, even if that person's or that take doesn't make a lot of sense.
He wants to adopt him.
Our take just becomes a vehicle and a way for us to make fun of our friend Ryan.
Correct.
And so we don't care whether or not it's true. We just know that every time that we bring it up, it makes Ryan feel smaller.
And we'll add you to this as well. So when Chris Paul chokes in the playoffs this year, you will be added to this take. You will be on the bus with Ryan. See how it works?
Yeah. How many rings does he have, though? See, that's always a trump card that you can do at the end of it. It's like
it's so frustrating.
It's such a dumb.
Oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb, but it's so fun to do. Just like rings.
Well, the funny thing is, like Giannis,
like Charles Barkley, right? Charles Barkley,
0 rings,
no rings, right? But 93 finals. Go look at his box scores. Go watch those guys. What hurt them in that series? They had 0 rim protection. I went on this deep dive of watching all these old Michael Jordan YouTube clips during the pandemic. It was actually before The Last Dance started airing. I got on this whole rant one night, not rant, but this whole like rabbit hole of just Michael Jordan big games, and it ended with me watching a bunch of highlights. And it's just amazing to me the ease at which he got to the rim in that series. Tom Chambers would be standing, not even verticality jumping, just standing underneath the rim while Jordan laid it in over top.
You're doing the thing. You're doing like Jordan played against plumbers.
Yeah.
And
there it is.
Not.
You just did it.
Yeah,
I'm doing the thing
right now.
where I'm talking about the fact that Charles Barkley also dominated that series and ended up without a ring.
Yeah.
Okay, because he was going against Jordan.
But he's a bust because he lost.
Right. Chris Paul Game 4 in the finals was not great.
Okay.
I think the problem
we can all find examples.
The problem with Chris Paul is he was Harden adjacent for a long time, and watching those guys in the playoffs, there was we took a sick, weird pleasure in knowing that James Harden was going to do something weird in the playoffs,
Correct,
and not show up. So having Chris around that and in that universe, he got a little bit of that Harden hate residually put onto him by us. Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to a degree.
And we took Blake's side in the breakup.
Yeah, that too.
Well, that's now we're talking.
Yeah, it's starting to come out a
now
little bit.
We're talking.
Hey, listen, I get it. Once you start to actually peel back the onions, all of our takes are just very personally motivated.
Who are our friends?
Yeah,
I know. I went on a rant about the Kings trade when they traded Tyrese Halliburton, and Tyrese is my guy, and he's 21 years old, and he's done some things already in his career. We're players in the NBA who have done this, and this by age 20. Guards in the NBA have done this, and this by age 21. It's Tyrese Halliburton. He's the list, right? And the Kings trade, I thought it was a stupid trade, right? Again, now all of a sudden I'm saying that De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis suck. I never said that. They're good basketball players.
Right.
But if you're the Kings and you're 22-41, trading Tyrese Halliburton for Sabonis is not going to move the needle one way or the other. It's not going to move the needle. Whereas I think if you keep a 21-year-old guard that's under a rookie scale contract, it's probably a better move for the long term.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point.
I've got a take I've been nesting on for a while. Curious to hear what you say, because you brought up YouTube earlier and how you were watching Michael Jordan, some of his old games on YouTube. I feel like kids today, the guys that are coming into the NBA, the younger guys, actually have a big advantage over players 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, because they have this enormous archive of footage that they can watch, that they can slow down. They can learn different moves, like you were talking about some of the rookies coming to the league that have just incredibly technically sound handles already. I feel like YouTube has actually done a great job of preparing kids for, just to build off of what has been done before them. Whereas if you wanted to learn those moves beforehand, you had to go to a summer camp. You had to have make sure you had a school that had a good basketball coach. You had to make sure that you were playing against great competition all the time. Now you can go online, you can watch some of the greatest players. You can break down their dribbling in super slow motion. You can just work on it on your own, whereas previous generations weren't able to do that.
Yeah, I used to have to. I mean, if I wanted to watch Reggie Miller come off screens, I would have to tune in on Sundays on NBC because we didn't have cable for most of my childhood. And I would record games on VHS, and I would have to hit play, rewind. And now it's just you type it in,
right.
YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and watch 20 videos on something.
People teach
you. The other thing too is when I was in high school, I had a key to the gym, and I would go before school and I would shoot by myself. I'd rebound for myself, and I'd spin the ball out and work on my footwork and shoot. I'm going to make 10 shots from 17 feet, spinning the ball, right, left footwork, pull up, right. Jason Tatum had Drew Hanlon when he was 13 years old.
Right.
The amount of resources. This is why I say, I'm acutely aware of this. The information, the video, the resources. Players are only going to get better. I'm not going to be the 50-year-old guy ranting about how guys suck.
They're just not.
They're only good
because
they're only good because they have the internet, JJ.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get you to say.
JJ Redick played against a bunch of podcasters. That's what they're going to say.
The content creators.
Right, exactly. All right, so who's winning the West? We'll wrap up in a second, but who's winning the West?
Phoenix. Phoenix is, again, this is...
Chris Paul choking aside.
Health...
No, it's just the West, not the finals.
Right. He can choke in the finals.
Phoenix. There's more wild cards to me in the East than there are in the West. But if I look at the Western Conference, Draymond Green is a wild card. It's very clear and obvious that for Steph to be at his best and for that team to function at their best, Draymond Green is the piece. They need Draymond to be 100%. Offensively, defensively, all that stuff.
Most important player on the Warriors. What you're saying.
And then the other wild card to me, my expectation is that Kawhi is not coming back for the Clippers. Let me just say that.
I forgot about Kawhi.
Yeah, let me just say I don't think he's going to come back this year. So the other one to me is Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jokic, I think the three best players in the league this year have been Jokic, Joel, and Giannis.
John Morant?
Yeah, he's on the list again. I'm gonna have to. Hey guys, I'm gonna have to leave some people out. The three most dominant players in the league are those three guys. Yeah, they're the next tier guys. I haven't changed that take for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Jokic has carried that team. If they get those two guys back, and those guys are 90% to 100%, they have a decent chance.
Yeah.
Yep. Jokic is that good. He's that good.
So the West is fascinating too, because you have the East has some really great teams, and the West has some teams where it's like, what if Ja Morant goes crazy? What if Luka goes crazy? How much of the NBA can it really be like as simple as like, hey, if you have the best player in the series, like you can win it just because they can just be that good and that much better.
I think you just said it.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It's that simple. It's who is the best player in this series, and that team has a great chance to win.
Yeah.
That's how, again, you're talking about a 7-game series. It's very different than college basketball. There's much more of a variance in college basketball because of that. If I go 9 for 18 against LSU, we win that game by 20 points.
Right.
If I have an average shooting night, I had a astronomically below average shooting night. I only shot 3 for 18.
It's good that you're over that.
Yeah. I'm providing examples here. I'm providing examples. So in the NBA, it's like who has the best player in the series, and that's why a lot of people when they get to the playoffs, or even when we talk about this 65 games into the regular season, you're like, I don't see that team winning at all, because what series are they going to have the best player? Mm-hmm. But I think with like Miami, there's certainly going to be some series where they don't have the best player in that series in the Eastern Conference. I'm okay with that. I really am. Jimmy Butler is a top 10, 15, 20 player when he's at his best.
I'm going to need you to narrow that down just a little bit, because this has been a debate in the 6 years we've been doing this podcast.
PFT doesn't think Jimmy Butler's a top 20 player.
No, now I do. And I think it was 15. I think that was the first one.
20.
I think it was 15.
Let's say 15 to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so
15
he's a
to be
top
fair.
15 player.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So there's going to be some series in the East when it goes against, let's say he played against the Nets.
Right.
When he plays against this version of DeMar, maybe the Heat don't have the best player, but do the Heat have the best team? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think so.
Okay, so Suns, Heat, I love it. All right, I had one last question. It is a Roback question. Put in promo code TAKE. You get 20% off your first purchase. They make the best performance Q-zips and hoodies. It's all that we wear, and for our guest today, we'd like to gift you a Roback performance hoodie on us. So go to RHOBACK.com. Use code TAKE for 20% off your first purchase. All right, my last question.
Wait, hold on. Can I just say something real quick?
We do have Q-zips for you.
I just want to say, this is organic, by the way. This is organic. It's not often that I'm on a show or that I do a show where I can co-sign on a promo.
Mm-hmm.
Roback literally does have the best performance hoodies.
Yes.
I like it.
Best gear.
We know that. So
best gear. And I wear them all the time. I wore them on the pod before. I wear them. The performance hoodie is the shit. It's
I've been seeing them pop up everywhere too.
Yeah.
They're blowing up.
And you just got yourself an advertiser.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, their founder is a listener of the show, and then he's cousins with Sam Hubbard, who plays for the Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl. So we're a big Roback family.
Roback is it.
Yes,
it's
Roback is it. So 20% off. I think we have some for you. So there you go. All right. Do you watch college basketball at all anymore? Or is it not like can you sit down and watch a game, or is it no? Okay, all right. I'm reading your face. Do you give us an honest opinion on Duke's chances to win the title in Coach K's last year, even though his legacy's already been tarnished by that loss on Saturday?
Their chances are good to be a regular season champion of a power conference.
Not co-champion, but full champion.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you can share it.
No,
too.
I just want to make sure we're specific. Full champion.
Well, co-champion, fine.
Yeah,
either
exactly.
way.
I agree.
But no, then you have a chance to win it all. Again, the variance in college basketball, it's very hard to predict things in college basketball, but I like their chances. Here's a question: if they win it all, does that take,
I kill myself?
Does that take away from the fact
myself.
that Carolina won? Is that worth more?
That's a great question. That is a great debate to have because the correct answer is obviously yes, that's great to win a championship going out. But to then you've been hanging out around Stephen A. Smith. You can tell I still am going to remember Coach K yelling at the student section
He
after
didn't
the
yell
loss.
at the student section.
Oh, he
said,
hold on.
that.
He said, hold on.
He
Hold
said,
on.
shut the fuck up, you moron.
I'm
I
tossing.
want to get my bench.
Your dad is about to talk to you. You're
Yeah.
going to fucking listen up,
Yeah.
dickheads.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, UNC would mean more. Miami going to Cameron would mean more when you missed your free throw. JJ missed a free throw.
Yeah.
At a game this year.
They asked me to shoot the free throw
He missed
again
it?
at the UNC game.
And you're like,
and
no?
I said no. And then I was like, can you get Grant to do it? He hasn't done it yet. But I think Grant had a contractual obligation with Turner. He can't do anything for ESPN.
Right.
It was an ESPN game, so he couldn't do it. So Grayson shot it, and he made it, which was great.
Mm-hmm. But you missed yours.
I missed mine against Miami.
It's on the way.
Here's the thing about that
too.
free
It was a
throw,
bad
though.
miss.
So my family lives in Raleigh. My parents and two of my sisters. My other two siblings are out in Denver. But I had flown in the night before, spent some time with my family all day. I probably had drank 3 or 4 IPAs, starting around 1 o'clock, and by the time I was out there, getting ready to shoot that free throw, I'm not saying I was buzzed,
Well,
but
some people are saying that's
definitely very relaxed.
emblematic of the drinking culture surrounding Duke.
Ooh.
Work hard,
This
play hard.
season.
Work hard,
Yeah,
play hard.
there's just been a lot of controversies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got a chance? Have you talked to John Shire?
Oh yeah. John and I talk all the
So
time.
you're confident, okay, he's the guy, correct, going with him instead of Tommy Amaker, who also got offered the job?
I'm not going to say one is correct or one is not correct. I would say just in terms of John, I think he's going to do a great job. I'm very, very confident. He's shown he can recruit. He knows the game. He's played the game at a high level.
Brotherhood.
No,
Part of the
I'm
brotherhood.
all in. I'm all in.
No,
on
I know
John.
he's part of the brotherhood.
I'm all in on John.
The Duke brotherhood. We heard about it all Saturday. I actually don't hate John Shire, it's going to take some time.
Chicago guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to build up the hate. I eventually will get there. It's going to take a while.
John Shire's face aside, because he made some faces when he played at Duke.
He did.
In action. Not his general face. His general resting face is totally fine. But those faces he made aside, he's a very easy guy to root for.
Yes.
He's one of the nicest kids I met when I would recruit guys. When I was at Duke, I hosted all the recruits. He's one of the greatest guys I ever met. As an adult, he's mild-mannered, he's humble. He's hard to root against.
He's not in the line of the Duke scumbags, the Leitners, the
Reddicks,
the
Reddicks,
the Grayson Allens. He's not in that line of scumbags. He's more. He's like Mike Dunleavy. No one really hates Mike Dunleavy.
Which is funny, because Mike Dunleavy is a dickhead.
Right. Dun. But really, no one really hates him the same way.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Josh McRoberts doesn't get that because he changed his look when he got to the NBA.
I hate. Yeah, the Plumleys get hate because they.
Josh grew his hair out.
Yeah.
There's a few years there where he looked like the white version of Jesus.
Kyle Singler had the hair at Duke.
Yeah, Kyle
people
Singler.
didn't hate him as much.
I feel like Wojo would have gotten more hate if he was better. If he had made it to the NBA and really and stuck around for a while, because he was
annoying.
He was annoying as fuck when he was at Duke.
He was annoying.
He was like the king of slapping the floor.
Yeah,
he was that guy. Yeah,
I forgot one last question. Were you shocked that Zion wasn't there, considering there was a free buffet?
What's funny? I'll give props to Grayson because he played yesterday afternoon. Grayson showed up to the game, shot the free throw, made the free throw, something I could never accomplish. But mostly, it was the 4-year guys, and a lot of the one and done guys are
in the NBA.
In the NBA,
right.
Currently playing. Zion went to church yesterday, so he probably had to get up early to go to church.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, I wasn't surprised. There weren't many one and done guys over there.
No Kyrie.
No Kyrie. No Kyrie.
Does it get clicky at all when you get together for these types of reunions? Are there different groups that hang out?
Yeah, there are.
Who's in your clique?
That's a good question. Dunleavy for sure. I mean,
Dun.
Mike's probably my closest friend that played at Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dunleavy, after the game, there's a guy, Kevin Marchetti. He was a manager at Duke. He's a big dick. He started some companies. He probably got a B next to his bank account.
Oh shit!
Great dude.
So that's how they're getting the recruits.
But he flew in from the Bay with Bob Myers and Mike. So after the game, I went and watched the Lakers Golden State game with Bob and Mike, and Wojo came. And so we had that little crew. But when we got in the room, that room I was telling you about, we got in that room before the game, there's 100 dudes in this, room in the back hallway of Cameron. And they had some beer for us, and everybody's kind of saying hi to everybody else. It was definitely cliquey. And it was based on, obviously, your era.
Right, who you played with.
You had the 2000 guys, you had the 2010 guys. Everybody was kind of the walk-ons. All the white walk-ons were hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the floaters. The floaters were mostly the early 80s guys. The first Coach K teams.
Yeah.
I can't tell you their record. Nobody really knows any of their names. Those guys were walking around the room.
Started it all.
They're like,
they started it all. Yeah.
Yeah. They look at you like you're their sons.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm the father of this program.
It was
inaugural
It was
class.
amazing. It was just that whole experience. And look, it sucked that they lost, but that whole experience was sick. It was awesome.
It was a great night. It was a memorable night.
It was a memorable night.
It was a very memorable night. All right, JJ, thank you. Old Man in the 3 with our good friend Tommy Alter. We got to have you back on for NBA playoffs too, because this was awesome. We appreciate it always.
I'm down to come on the show whenever you guys want. And
Okay.
I'm happy to talk playoffs.
Let's do it after Chris Paul chokes again.
I can't wait till we get to playoffs and we do this, and you guys are just providing me with just horrible takes.
No, it'd be great
fill you
though.
up.
Like once you get signed by the Nets, we'll have you on after you guys get bounced in the first round. Deal? Promise?
Deal.
Deal.
Well, we could like you could literally just do a take school for you. Like here's everything we got thinking right now. That's just terrible.
I actually would like that.
Yeah.
I would like that.
It's just really
You guys come up with 8 to 10 takes. Next
Yep.
time I'm on the show, 8 to 10 NBA
We'll
takes.
workshop them, yeah.
we just turn our brains off and just think of like what the dumbest thing possible, and a lot of them we believe. Like
No,
I
I'm-
believe
I'm-
Chris Paul's a choker.
I'm well aware that
Yes.
you believe in terrible takes.
Every
Yeah,
team
I'm
should
aware.
have like an AJ Teddy's that lines them up in a hotel room after a series. That's what started the Suns. Like these are the takes that we think of.
Yes. All right, thanks, JJ.
JJ was brought to you by Sling. We love Sling TV here at Barstool, and the final Coach Prime episode is tomorrow night. Watch it on Sling. If you're worried about where to watch the big tournament, it's time that you get Sling. They've got exclusive Barstool content as well, like the Brandon Walker Show. They've got Bracket Buzz. Jake, how did Bracket Buzz go today?
It was awesome. We had Big Cat on our first episode, Brandon today. Every Wednesday at 7 Eastern through the Final Four.
Love it. So you got both those shows, plus you can check out past episodes of PMT and The Yak on Sling. Sling is a place where your favorite sports channels like ESPN, FS1, TNT, and more come together for less. It's the cheapest way to watch college hoops. That's the important thing. If you're thinking about cutting the cable, you want somebody like Sling on your side. You want to do it with Sling. It's the cheapest way to watch college hoops. It's easy to set up, easy to use, no contracts. Sign up now. Try it absolutely free. Go to sling.com/barstool. Sign up now. Try it for free at sling.com/barstool.
Okay, let's wrap up. We got Guys on Chicks back. We haven't done this in a while. And we got a twofer on Friday. Interviews. Get excited.
For the
Very
people.
good. Very good stuff. And then we have John Rothstein and Mark Titus next week, which is going to be incredible. Hank. Suit Hank.
Not a suit.
Suit man.
Yeah, I'm suit
We
man.
got a suit man on this podcast.
You're wearing a suit right now.
I'm wearing a high fashion for high people hoodie. Speaking of hoodies, we have our new skeleton hoodies on sale now.
Correct.
Very fire.
Also,
and-
Positive Vibes hat. Positive Vibes
new
only hat.
logo hoodie, the blue logo.
Yes, the
Yeah.
logo.
Yeah,
Yep.
the
That's what we're
logo
calling
hoodie.
it.
Yeah, that's a
The
good one.
logo.
My boyfriend and I have been dating for about 3 months now and are going on a 14-hour road trip. What are some topics you do, or rather do not, recommend us discussing so that this isn't the last road trip we take? We're both listeners of the show and will potentially be listening to this during the drive.
Okay, you should do an animal draft at football positions. That killed about 4 hours of the trip, at least, right, Billy?
It was a good one. And there was also the other game where you pick a person you all know and try to guess who that person is.
Yeah, the 20 questions game.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a good one. Both solid uses of time. Billy botched the first overall pick in the draft by taking a Barbary Lion at quarterback. That was dumb as shit.
He's a leader.
Gorilla was still on the board.
You got to just have a fire playlist. It's all about the playlist. Get the best songs.
What should they do right now if they're driving and listening to this?
You can play
Watch out!
You play the blow your horn game. Remember we saw some guys that were doing that every single car that they passed on the way from Madison.
It was Madison to Indianapolis.
To Indy. There was one guy who was probably like 30 years old rolling down his window trying to get all the truckers to blow their horn.
Some fun stuff.
Just guy stuff, yeah.
I always just feel like that there's like an old story where that's like a gang initiation where they like wait for someone to do that and then take them out.
Oh, that's the flashing lights thing.
I'll never do that to anyone.
Yeah,
just in case.
I also when I'm on like a long road trip, if you're on a long road trip, like couple people, like maybe 2, maybe not 3, like those longer story type podcasts are really good. Where it's like you can do like a 6-part series one where you're like, all right, let's just hammer this out.
It's kind of like you're binge watching something,
right,
but you're just listening. Yeah, I think I did that one time with it was the Charles Manson thing.
Yeah,
it was like 12 episodes.
Yeah,
it lasted
so
about
it's
like 8 hours.
Yeah, you feel like you're in a story and you have to focus.
Or you can do a book on tape.
Nah,
and you can be like, I read something on the way.
That's lame.
All right, this one it reads to me as if it's fake, but it's so inconsequential that I feel like it might be real. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Hey, PMT boys, smiley face. I recently started seeing this guy, and I thought things were going great until my best friend saw him in a parking lot late at night making out with another girl in his Jeep. She did get a pic, and it ended up being his ex. What do I do?
I love it.
Like
making out in a Jeep.
Like that sounds fake, but also like if you're gonna fake something, I feel like you would say something like, more controversial.
This sounds,
which then makes me think it's real.
Big time high school vibes.
Yes,
I think the person that wrote this is probably like 16 or 17 years old. You got to make out with his best friend.
Yeah, you got to slash the tires.
Oh,
of the Jeep.
Do you want to finish that? Because that's a good segue.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I egg my ex-boyfriend's house? Or what is an alternate form of revenge I can take? Well, he really fucked me over.
I'm assuming this is his parents' house? Is this also high school?
No, I even like it better if it's like an adult egging another adult male's house.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yes, you should definitely do that. TP his tree too.
Tell his mom.
Yeah. Actually,
that's fucked up.
Billy, that's a great piece of revenge right there. If a guy cheats on you, tell their mom. Get in touch with them on Facebook and be like, hey, your son cheated on me.
Yeah.
And
mom or sister.
Yeah, mom will take your side 100%.
Yeah.
That's evil, Billy. That's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
I feel like you've had your mom told.
No, it's cool.
No, it's cool, dude. Chill. All right, chill.
How many times has a girl contacted your mom, Billy? Not to say that you were cheating.
Chill.
But to like see if you were alive.
Chill, bro. Chill. All right, chill.
Once.
But more like 3 times.
Chill.
These are kind of all over the place. We have some random ones, and then there's another like clearly fake one.
We've been out of practice.
Where would you like me to go?
I'm okay with the clearly fake one.
All right. Hey, Big Kitty, Hunk, and PFT Bag. Hey to all the other boys also. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2.5 years now. We moved in together almost a year ago, and things have been fine. Nice place. But the first problem came with our view. Our apartment window has a view facing other units in our complex, so you can see into other living rooms when the blinds are not closed. Anyways, a couple of days ago, I noticed a girl in her living room checking out my boyfriend as he was walking through our living room nude in the morning for some reason. Since that time, I've seen her check him out whenever the blinds are open and they happen to be looking out the window at the same time. A few days ago, she knocked on her door, and when he answered the door, she kissed him and gave him a piece of paper that had her apartment number and phone number. I want to do something with this info, knowing that our lease is up soon, so I won't see her again. What should I do?
Egg her house. Egg her front door in the hallway.
They live in the same apartment. This is very clearly fake.
No. I don't know. If they didn't see the
Wait,
girl,
the kiss, like you just open the door and kiss and then hand a note.
Yeah, it's like I think we've all. I think a lot of people have been corrupted by terrible Netflix shows where like this is how love happens. You see porn. Someone, in porn.
I would say this sounds more like the start of like a Netflix murder show.
Yeah,
where she comes over, kisses, leaves the number,
taking my shot.
Then they get together and she stabs him in bed.
Yeah. Have you been watching You?
I haven't. No.
Oh,
what's that?
It's a Netflix show. You. It's pretty good, actually. 3 seasons. I won't say anything else, but that's very similar to something that would happen there.
Sup, and this is a little higher education, but it's a good one. Sup, Handsome Hank, Big Cat, PFT, Jake, and Wild Bill. This is for higher education. My roommate has smoked all of us down the entire year without asking us to pay for weed.
I love that phrase.
He has always said, don't worry about paying him, but he lately has been giving us subtle hints to have us pitch in. I'm a broke college student and don't have enough money to fully supply his weed cachet, What is a nice way of saying thanks for letting us smoke your weed, but I can't pay you?
Just buy him shitty weed.
Thanks, boys. Keep up the sick content. The highlight to my week is listening to the pod on my way to class.
Just buy him shitty weed. That's step one. But I was confused. I was thrown off right off the bat because when you said that you've smoked him down, I would assume that the person that's smoking somebody down is just like smoking their weed. Smoking somebody up is like, if I smoke you up, Big Cat, I'm getting you high. If I smoke you down, I feel like I'm smoking your weed away from you.
But that's the opposite of what he's saying, right?
Yeah, that's the opposite. Yeah. So he's saying that, like, how do you repay
you smoke,
a guy
like, let me smoke you down.
The guy that's been the provider of the weed.
You got to clean his bong. And, yeah, you got to clean his bong.
Maybe do like a gravity, or no, what are they called?
I was saying you got to suck his dick.
Yeah.
Build him a gravity bong.
Build him a gravity. I made this for you.
Yeah. You know how like some sororities do that where they decorate the other guy's cooler when they go on a date?
Yeah.
Build him a gravity bong that you decorate with things that remind you of him.
Mm-hmm.
In my days of being a broke college student trying to smoke, when it was really dark times, we would do this thing called a graveyard blunt where you would just take all the roaches and break those down
and like
roll
scrape the
something up.
bowls.
Yeah, like resin bowls. So maybe that's something, you take all the stuff you've already smoked and give them a little present. Like here's a
here's
a little
all
graveyard
the shit
blunt
that's just been sitting in the bottom of your bong.
Well, no, but
bubbler.
the THC does get to the bottom of this, so it's like it can be a potent little stick.
Is that true, or is it just like people say that? Like, yeah, actually, this resin right here is super potent.
I have no idea if it's true. I've always believed it though, because like they say the THC goes down to the bottom, so like that's why when you smoke a little roach, you get just as high as smoking a big joint. Maybe that's placebo.
And
I've always
also
believed it, and
remember-
I will continue to believe it, no matter what anyone tweets at me today.
Well, remember also all high facts.
Get ahead of that.
Yeah, get ahead of it. All high facts were created by one high guy who then told another high guy, and then it just became a fact.
There needs to be a scientific website out there just for stoners to like put their evidence like of all the high facts they've come up with.
Yeah.
But just think about the idea of like when you attained that knowledge was when you were high from a guy who also was high.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, did you know this?
Best way to pass a drug test: actually don't exercise for the week leading up to it, because the THC is stored in the fat and it'll leak into your system if you burn off too much of it.
Basically, Billy.
Yeah. If steroids,
Billy facts.
Yeah, if steroids were marijuana.
We'll end with one, hypothetical here, or high question. It seems like, how come when I drink beer it's pea colored, but when I piss it out it turns clear? Am I a Brita filter?
Get there.
No,
Get
it's
there,
because
Billy.
it's
Get it.
diuretic. Alcohol is a diuretic, and why it dehydrates you is because it flushes all of the liquid in your body out through your piss. So even though it may seem like it's hydrated,
Oh, so
piss,
it's like Kirby.
Bam.
It's like a snowball.
How you like them apples?
It's just like
Our boy's wicked smart.
it gets all your liquid out faster.
Hell yes, Billy.
It's diuretic.
Diuretic.
Yeah, I thought it was diuretic too, but I'm going to let him go.
Yeah,
I'm not going to.
whatever Billy says is
Listen,
fine.
you were in the zone there.
It's
When
like
you
cranberry juice.
But
Yeah,
that's
chill.
that,
Hey,
that's
chill, PFT. Chill.
that's actually like the perfect Billy thing, to answer a question completely correctly, but also just butcher the pronunciation.
I love it, Billy. You were in the zone. You popped up there.
I never knew how to pronounce that word because I only read it.
We're not a big pronunciation podcast.
pronounce-
We're not a big facts podcast. You know what we do? We disavow Nazis. So
Speak phonetically.
yeah, speak phonetically. Loose facts, bad opinions. Emmanuel Acho would actually have a great time on this show.
He'd
Now
fit
that I'm
in
thinking about it.
perfectly.
Yeah. All right. Let's do numbers. We'll see everyone on Friday.
Oh, I got a little recap.
Hopefully, all right, go for it.
All right.
Hopefully, no big news breaks in the next 2 hours, because it feels like every 2 seconds.
Like
Go.
that Calvin Ridley clip, I bet you could find an even better Tyreek Hill
Yes,
clip.
yes.
Because he bounces back like
Yes.
10 yards.
It's so stupid. It was so stupid to see that clip and be like, "Oh, dude, he's definitely throwing games."
There was one that I saw that was, I think it was Deshaun Jackson. Like, you could make the argument about Deshaun Jackson.
Oh yeah,
That based on how he behaves around the 1 yard line, he would be the guy that you would point at.
I think Chip Kelly did try to do that.
He did. Again, not making any accusations, but the evidence is damning.
Yeah. Here's the clip.
Love you guys.
Oh wait, numbers.
69.
I'm going to go 40.
6.
25.
22.
3
Hey, guys.
for Russ.
Huge news. Hang on before you do
Breaking.
the numbers. Breaking.
What? Breaking news.
Dickie V has announced his March Madness starts with a W. His PET scan shows that he's cancer-free.
Oh, fuck
yes!
Yeah.
Rico's probably despondent.
Clap it up for Dickie V. It's disgusting that that's the first place your brain goes when you hear that Dick Vitale is alive.
Yeah, because brain is
like, oh man, this pisses Rico off so much.
Because Rico
I'm happy
wants
for
him
our
to
friend.
die.
You want him to.
You want him to die.
I'm happy for Dickie V. March Madness would not be the same without him.
Yeah, no, I'm.
You
very
want him
happy.
to die so you can make fun of Rico for wanting him to die, even though he doesn't, because you're a sick
he
fuck.
wants him to die. He hates him.
I know ESPN doesn't have the rights. He needs to call a March Madness game.
Yeah,
do the right thing.
I agree. It's kind of like Mr. Portnoy. Remember when Mr. Portnoy was like, I felt bad about Stuart Scott, but I hated that guy. All right,
Like-
numbers 22.
69.
3.
25.
40.
Rusticulous.
6.
Follow the Skeleban on Twitter.
Yes.
No, don't do that.
Skeleban meeting after this.
54. Feel like we've had that a few times.
Third timer.
OMG, all the prayers many of you have sent have been answered, as Dr. Brown, who heads my cancer team, called and said, PET scan came back, no cancer is showing. I feel like a coach playing for the Final Four has a PTP or hit a shot at the buzzer. My March Madness starts with a W, baby.
Love it.
I love that Dickie V tweets exactly how he talks.
Oh, yeah.
Love you guys. Love you, Dickie V.
54 is such a linebacker number, and dinosaurs are closer to birds than lizards.